What's up, assholes? So, yeah, let's go. We got a lot to cover, but let's go over this. First, let's start with Lydia and take a look at Lydia. And I'm not talking about her design. We'll get into that later. I don't care about that. I want to talk first off about her fighting style, which I actually like. You're finally getting it of understanding how to design a correct Tekken character. That part is awesome. For example, like doing things right. Because we don't need to go over this. We've already seen it. We've beaten it over the horse a million times. Leroy and Fuck You Man have been a complete fucking design disaster. We don't need to go over that, whatever. It was a learning process, but now we're starting to learn that with Lydia, we're catching on and learning how this is actually done. This is Tekken. Her fighting style. I'm not talking about her design and stuff like that. Her fighting style on the head. You took an actual fighting style. An actual fighting style of karate and implemented it into the game. And then things like her parry. She can only parry right punches. That's Tekken right there. Because things like, okay, so Brian can only parry punches, right? And he gets a little, he doesn't get a launcher, he just gets a punch back. You know, they're not like overpowered moves. Like King can reverse right punches, right? All he gets is a little damage off that, or he can reverse a leg, but you have to know if a right punch is coming or a leg, and you have to grab it at the right time. Even Jin's parry is done on skill, like, and it's the epitome of understanding what your opponent is. Like, when they throw a move, you have 3 frames to catch that move. So you have to know when the move is actually going to connect with you, and you got 3 frames to do it. If you catch it, you have to know the recovery on those moves of what the punishment you could do, and you have to manually input it. If you mess up on that, you could get punished. Lydia's low parry, flawlessly done. It's based on timing and also her catching a right punch. This is Tekken. Leroy was not Tekken. That is brainless fucking reversal. And just like, again, like Ahsoka or her reversals, you can chick them. Paul's reversals, you can chicken them. Like there's strengths and weaknesses to them. Like, but we all know, like, Leroy auto low parrying lows from a stance, and just you can spam his reversal and ain't shit you can do about it. That was just whatever. We're not going to beat that dead horse. Well done on Lydia. Her fighting style, the fighting, her design for the fighting, nailed it on the head. Finally, everybody agrees. We can see it. So yeah, that's it. That's my review on Lydia. Well done. It's a good job on her fighting style, and that's the only fucking thing I ever cared about. But now that that's out of the way, that's my review on Lydia. Now let's get into some other things. But what we're going to do is we're going to go on a little journey, and I want to show you guys where the design of Lydia actually came from, and this is pretty important of the decision of her design. Also, we're going to go down the rabbit hole of what the future of Tekken actually looks like, and we're going to bring that to the surface. If we bring it to the surface, we can course correct things and work from there. And as long as everything's laid out on the table for all of us to see, right? Okay, so also, to move forward, I'm going to show you guys something as something solid that we can look at to compare to, all right? Because if you make the same mistakes as other people, you'll get the same result. But also, if you make the same decisions that lead to success, you'll also get the same result. So I'm going to show you guys, this is a frame of something that we can compare to so that we can actually see which decisions would be the correct decisions for Tekken. Because if the same decisions are made that lead to failure with another company Tekken makes, they're going to make the same mistakes. If you see another company that does something that is successful, Tekken can make the exact same decisions to make Tekken more successful. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you, and this is the way we can know the future of Tekken, right? By looking at two different examples. Also, we're going to get into the psychology of this, so you could do it. But first thing, what I'm going to do is establish something that we can compare to, something solid that we can, two examples that we can solidly compare to see what's going to happen. Okay, so the first thing we're going to compare to is Justice League with two different directors, and they're going to be studying this stuff for a long time because of how much we've learned just watching this whole scenario play out, which has been fascinating and an amazing learning experience. And I'm going to show you what the importance of, and I'm going to show you guys what the importance of knowing the vision, of having a clear vision for what something is supposed to be, or something is supposed to be made, right? And Zack Snyder is the creator of this universe, of this world, of these characters. Joss Whedon takes this epic that Snyder had, and Snyder had the full, everything mapped out, a vision of what it's supposed to be. Whedon comes in and he inherits this. He doesn't care about Zack's vision or stuff like that. He's not invested in these characters and stuff like that, and it shows when he reshoots the movie and hacks it up. Like the actors were even talking about when the reshoots happened, that when Whedon came on, it was very, they felt very much disrespected, and it was a different type of atmosphere. Like there's a scene where Flash lays on top of Wonder Woman, and the actress wouldn't even do that. They got a stunt double to do that, and I don't blame her, because that was a very disrespectful scene. It was unnecessary to put that in there, and the actor for Cyborg was furious because of the bullshit that he had to go through. And after seeing the Snyder Cut, I don't blame him. Cyborg was fucking amazing in the Snyder Cut. He was the heart of the movie, and I'm dying to see a movie with that actor as Cyborg, a standalone movie, because his powers are so relevant to the world we live in today that I am dying to see where that went. But they hacked out the heart of the entire fucking movie, cut out completely, and boiled down to a stupid one-liner of booyah or some shit like that. It was, but in Whedon's defense, why would he fucking care? He's not invested in this. He doesn't care about these characters. He didn't create them. He didn't bring them on board. This is not his vision, right? This was Snyder's vision. And there's a difference in it, in the mood and the emotions of it. And it's apparent to see how that could get fucked up, because it's two different men, two different ideas, two different visions. So you can't really hand something off to somebody without it getting totally fucked up if you don't understand that person's clear vision. Because with the clear vision, everybody's treated with dignity and respect, because there's a certain purpose for each one of them when you have a clear vision of something. And the cool part is we have more than one example of this. Okay, so we have Justice League, and we also the exact same thing happened to Star Wars. Okay, George Lucas had a very he had a vision of what Star Wars was supposed to be. It's not about the special effects and stuff like that. It's actually about family and redemption and stuff like that. That's the core themes. That's why Star Wars has been timeless, because of what's the core, what the vision of it actually is. And see, with Justice League, it was two separate directors, right? Snyder had a vision of what it was supposed to be. Whedon comes in, doesn't care about the vision, so he doesn't really care what happens, and then Snyder comes back and restores his original vision. Whedon's doesn't work because he doesn't get the vision, but when Snyder Cut comes out, it's fucking awesome. Everybody loves it. So Kathleen Kennedy takes over, doesn't care about the vision that George Lucas has, so she doesn't care about these characters. She only cares about her own personal interests, and she injects them in there, and those 3 movies that she made were just a fucking divisive disaster. And it's clear to see, just like Whedon did, like when Whedon took over, Superman and The Flash were treated almost like an afterthought, like a terrible bad joke afterthought. Because like when they came in, he had them saving some random family that was injected to him, and then having do some stupid race at the end of the movie, and he didn't care about the CGI mustache, and all just completely disrespected. And the exact same thing happened with like Luke Skywalker when Kathleen Kennedy took over. Actually, all the original characters were treated like garbage. Why? Because she doesn't care about the vision. She doesn't care about the characters. She didn't make them. Luke Skywalker was completely obliterated and disrespected. Now, when Snyder did his did the Snyder Cut, Superman is a fucking badass at the end of the movie. The Flash saves the entire world at the end of the movie. Every single character is treated with dignity and respect, and all of them have different certain jobs and different strengths and stuff like that, and they use it to their full potential. Like, also, even the bad guys under the right vision are treated with dignity and respect. Like Steppenwolf in Whedon is a fucking pathetic cartoon joke, but Snyder, he's fleshed out, he has purpose, and he's a fucking badass. And that also translates into Star Wars, because here's the thing. You don't have to have the person per se who has the vision. The most important part is the vision. Having and understanding the vision, you can carry something on. And Clone Wars and The Mandalorian are a perfect example of that, because Jon Favreau is part of creator of The Mandalorian, but Dave Filoni also helped him. Dave Filoni also does the Clone Wars. But Dave Filoni understands, these men, both of them, especially Dave Filoni, understands the vision of what Lucas had for Star Wars. What's at the core of it? And because of that, he also treats all the characters with dignity and respect. Like, even the bad guys. Like, you got Steppenwolf being badass. In the Clone Wars, Darth Maul's a fucking badass. In Lucas's stuff, greatest villain of all time, Darth Vader is a fucking badass. But in the prequels, what's that guy's fucking name? Kylo Ren is a joke. Snook is a fucking joke. Even the bad guys are treated as jokes. Everybody's treated disrespectfully and just an afterthought and completely obliterated if you don't give a fuck about the vision and the purpose behind all of them. And Dave Filoni understands the vision that George had, that it's about family. It's about father and son. It's about relationship. And that translates over into The Mandalorian flawlessly. You can see, because, and I'm glad he took it over, because George was talking about his ideas for the prequels, and I think the way The Mandalorian was pulled off is way better than anything that could happen, because the vision was brought over. It's in the universe. It's a smaller story, but the core of the story is the exact same between father and son. This isn't a father adopting a son. And also, the importance of all these characters is brought over in the Clone Wars, and you can see this vision and the understanding in the vision right here in this, and you can see what I'm talking about.
I love the lightsaber fight with Darth Maul, not because it's a lightsaber fight, but because George is so good at crafting why that fight's important every time. Like, you know, the Obi-Wan Darth Vader fight isn't like the most wonderfully staged necessarily combat that you're ever going to see, but there's so much at stake. It's so meaningful when Obi-Wan dies that we all feel like Luke. In Phantom Menace, you're watching these two Jedi in their prime fight this evil villain. Maul couldn't be more obviously the villain. He's designed to look evil, and he is evil, and he just expresses that from his face all the way out through the type of lightsaber he fights with. What's at stake is really how Anakin's going to turn out, because Qui-Gon is different than the rest of the Jedi, and you get that in the movie, and Qui-Gon is fighting because he knows he's the father that Anakin needs. Because Qui-Gon hasn't given up on the fact that Jedi are supposed to actually care and love, and that that's not a bad thing. The rest of the Jedi are so detached, and they've become so political that they've really lost their way. And Yoda starts to see that in the second film. But Qui-Gon is ahead of them all, and that's why he's not part of the council. So he's fighting for Anakin, and that's why it's the duel of the fates. It's the fate of this child. And depending on how this fight goes, Anakin is his life's gonna be dramatically different. So Qui-Gon loses, of course. So the father figure, because he knew what it meant to take this kid away from his mother when he had an attachment, and he's left with Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan trains Anakin at first out of a promise he makes to Qui-Gon, not because he cares about him. When they get Anakin, when they find him on Tatooine, he says, "Why do I feel like we've found another useless life form?" He's comparing Anakin to Jar Jar.
Excuse me.
And he's saying, this is a waste of our time. Why are we doing this? Why do you see importance in these creatures like Jar Jar Binks and this 10-year-old boy? This is useless. So he's a brother to Anakin eventually, but he's not a father figure. That's a failing for Anakin. He doesn't have the family that he needs. He loses his mother in the next film. He fails on this promise that he made, "Mother, I will come back and save you." So he's left completely vulnerable. And Star Wars ultimately is about family. So that moment in that movie, which a lot of people I think diminish into just a cool lightsaber fight, but it's everything that the entire 3 films of the prequels hangs on, is that one particular fight. And Maul serves his purpose, and at that point died before George may bring him back. But he died, and that's showing you again how the Emperor is completely self-serving. He doesn't care; it's just a tool that he's using people, and now he's going to use this child. That follows all the way through to the line which terrified me as a kid when the Emperor tells Luke, "You, like your father, are now mine." And the idea when I was a little kid watching that movie of some evil person possessing my father, making him do things or making him be evil was terrifying. That was like a thought that was horrible. Also, it's amazing when you watch Return of the Jedi that Luke has never done anything that I would call it like he's a bad character. He has like a tendency to be dark, and a lot of people wanted Anakin, oh, he should have been darker as a character. It's not true at all. I believed Luke would turn to the dark side in Return of the Jedi. I believe that was on the table. I believe that he would kill the Emperor, and because of the way George arranged the story, I knew that was the wrong thing to do. When he's saying, you know, you want your weapon, you know, strike me down, I'm defenseless. He wants him to give into his anger. He wants him to give into his hate. And the fear, the structure that George has laid out in all the movies is coming to fruition now. And the only thing that's going to save him is not his connection to the Force. It's not the powers he's learned. It's not all these things that are an advantage to him. That's gotten him to the table. But what saves Luke is his ability to look at all that and look at his father and say, no, I'm going to throw away this weapon. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let that go and be selfless. And he says, you know, I am a Jedi like my father before me. But what he's really saying, and why I connect so powerfully to it, is like he's saying, I love my father, and there's nothing you can do that's going to change that. And the Emperor can't understand that connection. Why wouldn't you take someone from the power of the galaxy? Why won't you take this? And Anakin then in that moment has to decide to be the father that he's never had. He has to give up all the power of the galaxy and save his son. And that's the selfless act that he does in return for his son. And that's what saves him in turn. So the son said the father said the son. And it works out perfectly. And I draw that line all the way from Phantom Menace to Jedi. That's the story of Star Wars.
So when he pops the helmet, you're saying when he pops the helmet off in that moment was part of the fated arc.
It's all part of the fated arc. It's all part of like why it works and why we care. It's not about X-Wings. It's not about all the things we decorate Star Wars in. It's important. It's part of the genius of it. But we soulfully react like we don't just want an action movie. We want to feel uplifted. And Star Wars is an adventure that makes you feel good. You know, it makes me feel like, wow, I want to be a part of that. So that's what I always go back to with Star Wars, is this selfless act and this family dynamic, which is so important to George, so important to the foundation of Star Wars. That's in us. And what I like about it is it is really saying there is a lot of hope out there, that we fundamentally want to be good people, that we can all be driven to do terrible things, but that we can persevere through selfless action. So George has this hopeful story, and it's something that he's reiterated most times I've seen him, you know, after we've been making things without him, is remember to make these stories hopeful. Remember to give that to kids because they really need it. And so that's just something to keep in mind.
Okay, you guys are going to see, and I'm going to show you how all of this is relevant to Tekken. Okay? Also, but before we also start, there's something else that we need to go over, because this is extremely important, and it's something that you have to check yourself with. It's a psychological, it's something that happens to people psychologically, and it's a big, and this is why this subject, what I'm doing now, can actually be used in parallel to so many things that are going on in the world today, right? This whole situation, you can actually use the same type of setups, and you'll see how it translates to other things. But there's a psychological condition with people and the brain. It's called cognitive dissonance. All right, and you'll have to look it up. But when you look it up, you're going to have to read a bunch of different versions of the definition, because you'll be like, why are they all worded different? Because it's kind of a hard thing to explain, but you'll see that they're all saying basically the same thing. This is a psychological thing that happens in people on a regular basis. And as soon as I explain it, you're going to be like, holy shit, this is so relevant to everything. This is so relevant to everything in the world, and you see it all the time. Okay, what happens when you learn something and you believe it, or there's somebody that you like and they teach you something? Now, what just happened is, whatever you learn from them and you take that as truth, what people will do is they'll take that and they'll make it a part of their personality. They think it's a part of them. And it kind of is. It's a part of them. Now, if somebody disagrees with that person or that idea or something like that, a person will think that that's an attack on them, not the idea. They take it, then they make it feel like it's an attack on them. Like if somebody says something bad about somebody that you like and you agree with and you follow, people will take that as personal as, or an idea. They take it as that person's, even though they're challenging the idea or the person, somebody else who likes that person will feel like they're attacking or coming after them personally. They're not. It's just the feeling. But what cognitive dissonance is let's say that somebody taught you something and you believe what they taught you, right? Somebody else comes up and brings up evidence showing that what you believed from this person or the thing that you learned, you start to see evidence that contradicts what you actually believe. Evidence against showing that you could be wrong. When that happens, it produces a very uncomfortable feeling that what you believed in your belief system, because you thought this, but you're seeing evidence against it, that very uncomfortable feeling that has a psychological effect on a person, that's cognitive dissonance. That is the clinical term, a psychological term used for that feeling of emotion when you thought something to be true, evidence starts coming up, and you're looking at it, and now you have a conflict inside. That feeling is cognitive dissonances. But the problem that happens, like let's say somebody's manipulated into thinking something, and then they see evidence showing the truth and what they believe is actually wrong. Because that is so uncomfortable for them, they will still cling to what they believed previously instead of changing their ideas because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. Instead of actually looking at the facts. There's a huge problem in the world today, and we see it all the time. You see it. And everybody's guilty of it. It's so common that it has a clinical name. So, the reason I was telling you guys about this condition, it's very important for what we're going to go over in the rest of this video. And what I want you to do and ask yourself while you're watching the rest of this video is understand that there is something called cognitive dissonance, and it happens to people if you like somebody or believe them and stuff like that. And when you see something that contradicts, knowing that feeling is there, actually instead pay attention to what you're looking at and understand that about yourself and what's going to happen. Because what I'm going to show you guys is I'm going to show you guys the truth. That the entire design of Lydia has everything to do with me. The recent nerf that came out of nowhere about Steve has everything to do with me. And both of that comes from Michael Murray and the main man, Adrian. And their anger and jealousy toward, things dealing with me and Nee. So I'm more making this video because of Nee, because half of me didn't really give much of a shit, but out of respect for Nee, I wanted to show this. But what the interesting thing is, and we're going to go over this when talking about Michael Murray and Adrian, the main man, is what I'm going to do, because not everything's black and white. All right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the bad of both of them first. The bad. Then, pay attention. After that, I'm going to show you the good side to Michael Murray and Adrian. The bad and the good. Because these things are very important. Because my only goal is to have Tekken fixed and at its full potential. Right? But under Harada, and Harada's not running the show, and we'll get into that here in a second. It's Michael Murray running the show. Ever since season 3, Michael Murray has taken over. Harada's only covering for, when he's talking about Tekken, he's only covering for Michael Murray right now. But because Harada is busy, he just opened a bar and he's working on a different video game. Right? He doesn't have time for Tekken. Michael Murray is now the main producer of Tekken. And it shows in these 2 tweets. And if you look at the dates, pay attention to the dates. Look what Harada is saying right here. Michael Murray gets lead producer. And then look at what Harada is saying right here. Alright? Harada is focused on his bar. He's focused on the new video game stuff. Michael Murray, since season 3, is running Tekken. So all the decisions are coming from Tekken. For Tekken are coming from Michael Murray now. But under Harada, and you're going to see this, under Harada, Adrian, just like how the villains in Star Wars and Justice League are badasses and treated with dignity and respect. Let's just say that, like, Adrian, under Harada, is a badass, and he is positive for the Tekken community. He's a good thing for the Tekken community. All that hard work he puts in and stuff like that. Under Harada, he's a positive thing. Under Michael Murray, though, he's a toxic crybaby bitch. Right? Under Harada, Adrian is a badass and he's awesome for the Tekken community. Under Michael Murray, he's a crybaby bitch that is leading to the destruction of the game. And with Michael Murray, and you three men, I want you guys to see this. I'm going to open it up. You guys have got to see this. All right? And Michael, because here's the thing about you, Michael. Lydia gives me hope, because I know you want the game to succeed. I don't think you want the destruction of the game, but you going on. But I have to show you this. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so like, okay, you got the 4 Gospels, right? In the Bible, you got the 4 Gospels. It's written by 4 of the disciples, right? Now, one of the disciples, Thomas, Doubting Thomas, is the one who, he got his nickname because he doubted Jesus was up, and then he appeared to him. He also wrote one of the Gospels. But he wrote a Gospel, but it was not put in the Bible, and I know exactly why. Because it even says this in the Bible, that Jesus only taught in parables, and a lot of the parables people didn't understand. He did this to hide the meaning of things from people, that only the people that God chooses to know something will understand the parables. But the 4 Gospels that are left in the Bible, every single parable, there's an explanation that goes with the parable. Like, you could look up, this actually means this, and you can find that throughout the Bible in different spots. Except for the Gospel of Thomas, there's a lot of those parables that people didn't understand that are in there that have no definition backing it up. But what's interesting is one of the things in the Gospel of Thomas that blew me away that Jesus said is he talked about the power of knowing yourself. And it blew me away. I was like, I've known the power of knowing myself. It doesn't surprise me, but it blew me away that Jesus did actually say that about knowing yourself. Because if you know your strengths, right, everybody knows their strengths, but what happens when you know your weakness? If you know your weakness, accept your weakness, and understand it, you can turn your weakness into a strength because you know it's a weakness. All right, what I'm going to do, Michael, is I'm going to show you this weakness, and you have to understand it, because if you don't, it will lead to the destruction of the game and maybe even fuck up your career. But if we understand this and look at it and do the comparisons of the parallels of what other businesses do to succeed, we could take Tekken in that direction. So there is a method to my madness. I don't give a fuck about going back and forth, but after this, everybody will get to have the choice of what happens next, because you'll see exactly what's going to happen. So let's get right into this. So in one of my previous videos, I said that I was into, growing up, I was into wrestling, karate, and boxing, right? Well, I'm going to tell you guys how I got into that. I'm going to tell you the story about that because this all has to do with my best friend, Billy Chad, growing up. So I'm going to tell you all some stories about Billy because this is relevant. This will be relevant to Tekken, right? So, my buddy Billy, I met him in middle school, but the first thing he introduced me to was wrestling. Now, the summer between middle school and high school, I went to go spend... I went to go spend the night at his house, and as soon as I got there, he was like, here's a singlet, see if this fits. I was like, what is this about? He's like, we're going to go to a wrestling tournament tomorrow. I was like, what the heck is that? He's like, it's a sport, you'll like it, don't worry about it. I was like, all right. So we're talking about, I was this barely hitting puberty, scrawny little tweenager, right? So next day, we go to a freestyle tournament. And as soon as we walk in, we walk into the stadium, this huge stadium, all these mats are all over the place. And I am introduced to wrestling. I'm like, holy shit. Now remember, I was walking right behind Billy. His mom and Billy were like in front of me, and I'm walking, and I look over and I look at a mat, and I see a match about to start. Now, we got this tall kid, and it's done by weight classes. We got this tall kid by this more short, about to wrestle this short dude. Now, the tall kid is lanky and skinny. He's got arms like this. And he's getting down, he's getting ready. Right? Then, short kid, they're the same weight, but because of the height difference, this short kid is stocky and nothing but muscles. Right? So you see this, boom. He looked like he could take the skinny kid's arms and just snap them if he wanted to. And I'm like thinking, that kid's about to get fucking destroyed, right? I guess Billy must have seen me because he stops me. He's in front of me, he stops, and he's like, he nudges me. He's like, watch this. Skinny kid's about to destroy that muscly kid. I was like, now watch it. As soon as they blew the whistle, sure enough, that kid annihilated him. That skinny, lanky kid started throwing him around, toying with him, did a bunch of points, and then when he got done getting a bunch of points like he was practicing, pinned him like that. I was stunned because wrestling is not just about strength. It's also about endurance and being smarter than your opponent, and it's using the body's weaknesses and using geometry and leverage on your opponent to get the upper hand. And as soon as I saw that and realized that, I was like, I found my sport. You see why I would be attracted to a game like Tekken? Because it's the same type of mindset. Karate's the same way. It's not just about physical strength, it's about outsmarting and being smarter than your opponent.
As mean as he looks, in the off-season he likes to ride horses. He's got a 4.0 grade point average also.
Very articulate junior high wrestler.
He's got a 4.0 grade point average also. He's got a 4.0 grade point average also. He's got a 4.0 grade point average also.
Well, he also got me into karate, and Billy loved karate. Now, Billy was a freak of nature when it came to karate. And he was, in Kaikishinkai, he made Kaikishinkai history as being the youngest person to ever get a black belt in Kyokushinkai, because that's one of those ones where you can't buy the belt. You actually have to earn it. Like, you have to do all these katas and then go against like 3 black belts and beat him. But he was just so fucking stupid talented. He was in it when he was like 4 years old. I remember being at his house one time and we were watching a video when he was even younger, and it's on the TV screen. You see this little blonde, blue-eyed kid, just a couple years old, against his black belt, and it was like the first whiff punish I ever seen. The match is about to start, and Billy's just like looking at him, and we're both watching this. This guy goes in and swings at Billy. And Billy, and this is slow motion, jumps back, dodges the fist, because the guy comes in like this, and he's way taller and older, comes in like this, and Billy jumps back, goes over his hand, and bops him on the head. Right on there, and got the point. And like fast motion, it looked like that. That guy swung, and Billy went, pow! It was like the first real life whiff punish I ever seen. And Billy was like, oh, did you see that? I was like, holy fucking shit, this is awesome. So Billy also got me into that. Okay, now fast forward a couple years, and when we were in high school, and it's not surprising why, Billy becomes like the most popular kid in high school, right? Good looking, his parents got nothing but money, he's super talented, he's super cool. All the girls drooled over Billy constantly. Everybody wanted to be his friends, and he would be your friend. He never bullied anybody. He had no need to. He was secure in himself. He was just, you know, the coolest fucking dude, and everybody loved him. But what happened is, every time we got a new student, they would hear about Billy, and for some reason they always wanted to test themselves against Billy. Now Billy, he never brought up his karate and stuff like that, except like when he would talk to me, because he's passionate about it. He loved it. He didn't brag about it. He was just passionate about it. He loved it. But everybody knew how fucking badass he was in it. But get a new student, and I remember this day, but Billy never told this to me. I had to hear it through somebody else. This is part of Billy's character and his personality. We got this new dude in school, and transferred to our school, and this happened every fucking time. I got a ton of stories like this. But heard about Billy, and he starts talking shit about Billy. Now, he ends up having one of the same periods with Billy. It was weightlifting. Alright? So, it's a weightlifting period. All the guys are, of course, taking this course, and all the guys are weightlifting. The teacher's not around, and one of my actual friends is talking to this new dude, and they're outside, right? And he's talking, man, fuck that guy, man, fuck karate, he's the dumbest thing, I would whoop his ass. And my buddy, my friend was like, dude, trust me, you don't want to go there. You need to chill out, and you need to relax. Now, my buddy is talking to this guy, right? And he's right here, and this guy's fucking talking nothing but shit, right? And my buddy's like, you need to chill out. There's a window, the weightlifting is right here. There's a window right here, kind of behind this dude, right? So everybody who's weightlifting can hear everything this fucking dumbass is saying. Well, as he's going on talking non-stop shit about Billy and karate and how fucking stupid he is and how he could whoop his ass, and my friend's like, you need to fucking chill out. My buddy told me that through the window he saw Billy was in the weightlifting. Billy pops his head out behind the guy, and he's listening to him as he's talking shit right behind his back, and the guy doesn't even know Billy's face is right there. And my friend's like, you need to calm down, you need to chill out. Man, fuck that bullshit, man, whatever. So, Billy's a cool dude, but he does have a tolerance line to where, alright, enough's enough, you need to shut the fuck up. Well, Billy comes out, and he walks up to the guy. Billy walks up to the guy, and he does this. Boom. Everybody knows what this is and what this means. When Billy does this, he's aiming. He's taking this foot, and he's aiming. He's not aiming this foot. He's aiming his back foot. So Billy comes up to that guy, puts his front foot forward, his left foot forward, and he goes, So you think karate's bullshit. And that guy, yeah, man, fuck that shit. And as soon as he started the sentence, Billy roundhouses him, goes him right perfectly across the face with his foot. Not as soon as it connects, it knocks him out before he even hits the ground. That guy's, yeah, that's a... The dude's knocked out, passed out. Billy looks at him for a second, then walks back in. So he roundhouses him, boom. All the other guys who were out there, around there, were just like, well, nothing to see here. And everybody goes in and starts working out. Teacher wasn't around, and they left him there, passed out the rest of the period until the bell rang. Then somebody woke him up. From what I heard, he was in the daze the rest of the day. Funny thing about that guy is he never talked shit about Billy again. Actually, he never talked shit about anybody. Actually, he stopped talking and was one of the quietest dudes at that school after that happened. He didn't say anything to anybody, and he minded his own business after that. But I remember, after that happened, it was the next period. Billy actually came up to me, and I remember that. He was like, hey, dude, you still spending the night this weekend? I was like, yeah, man, I'll be there. He's like, all right, we'll come pick you up. And he walks away, and it was 5-10 minutes later. My buddy came up, and he's like, Billy knocked out the new kid? I was like, what? And they told me the story. Billy never brought it up. He never talked about it. Why? He didn't care, right? He's confident in himself. He didn't start it. He sure as fuck finished it. Just taking out the trash. Okay, and now I'm going to tell you a different story about Billy so you can start to understand his character even more. Now, Bill and me both got into weightlifting about the same time. And, he's really passionate about it, and this is just how his parents were. It's just ridiculous. He wanted weightlifting. They end up buying a gym for the town, like one of those ones where you go and pay a membership, a weightlifting gym. Ended up being the best one, nicest one in town too at the time. It was just jeez. And they even hired a guy to train Billy, and this is one of those guys who actually competed and got on stage like the real flex and pose and stuff like this. This dude was like nothing but muscles and vein. He was training Billy, but Billy needed a partner to work out with and who was about his same size right here. So I got free training in a gym, basically free membership growing up, and that's how I learned about how to lift weights and stuff when I was just a teenager and stuff like that, and just starting off. That's how I got professional training, being just friends, my best friend. But in the back of the gym, they had a boxing ring, and that's where Billy and me would practice karate and boxing. And one time we're back there, and it was just us. We're going at it. We got our pads on. And we're practicing, and of course he's better than me. The dude's a fucking freak of nature, and he got me into it when we're just barely turning like teenagers, right? And he started when he was like 4, so of course he's better than me. But I didn't care. Every time, the more I did it, the better I got, right? And we had fun. But we're back there, we're going at it, and Billy does this lightning fast kick, and it comes up, and he does it so fast and so hard. The pad on his foot slipped out, right? The pad slipped because it was coming up so fast, it slipped. He caught me across the face, full foot, bam! Because he came out, was going this way, and he came out, it was so fast, it caught my blind side, and he caught me, right? And it was like full contact. He didn't mean to, it was an accident, but it didn't feel good. So it was like, bam! And it frustrated. Not that he hit, I didn't care. I knew it was a mistake. He knew it was a mistake. He knew that I knew it was a mistake, but I was still frustrated because it's like, when you stub your toe, you're just like, you don't want anybody to talk. You're like, shh, don't talk. Because it hurts. It was just one of those, I was frustrated. But I knew it was, I didn't give a fuck. So after I shook it off, I was like, bam! He kicks me and we both stopped, and I was like, and I was like, all right, let's go. And Billy goes, no. this is what we're going to do. And he said, come here, we're going to go toe to toe. He's like, put both of our toes touching. He's like, we cannot separate our toes. He's like, you can move your right leg back, but your leg, your toes on the left legs will never, they cannot ever separate. And if somebody puts their foot up, you go toe to toe. He did that so that neither one of us could escape. Put our pads on, no legs, our feet are toe to toe, and we just started going at it and just punching the fuck out of each other's heads, right? With our gloves on. Bam, 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 bam. And Billy did that. I know why Billy did that. He wanted to build my confidence back up. It worked. I mean, it felt good. And we did. We beat the fuck out of each other's heads, and it was fun. But that is another example of his personality and what he was like, and how he was secure in his own abilities and stuff like that. But after practicing, and that's who I practice with constantly. So what do you think it was like when I went against fought other people? Everybody else was fucking easy. And like, I got my junior year, I did a lot of moving around, but I went to Boone, North Carolina, Watauga High School, and at the time, so I started wrestling at my school with me and Billy. I moved around my junior year, but went to a school, and I got on the wrestling team. My wrestling partner, who was the same weight as me, was a 4-time state champion because his dad was the wrestling coach of Appalachian State University. He was the wrestling coach of Appalachian. It was his son who was my wrestling partner. All right? I got some crazy stories about him. He was a cool dude. But after wrestling with him, I came back to my school, my senior year, and me and Billy both went to state. And I actually saw that guy again at the state tournament. And it was really cool watching him win. And he was like, dude, congrats getting back here. But anyway, wrestling and practicing and fighting against people like Billy and stuff made me better. So when I fought other people, everybody else is easy. Like when I went in the Marine Corps and they had boxing, I beat the fucking brakes off everybody. Like when we were on ship, a different platoon than ours set up a wrestling mat, and we didn't know it because the ships in the Marine Corps are fucking huge, and set up a wrestling match, and they had this one guy who was fucking destroying everybody, and then somebody in my platoon found out about it, ran up there, Jeremy, come here, they got some wrestling, and they brought me down. And it was like David and Goliath, this dude who was destroying everybody. Like literally, I came up to his shoulders. He was a head taller than me, and this dude was fucking huge, nothing but muscles. They're like, well, you got your guy. We got Jeremy. Sure enough, pinned the dude like that, like it was nothing. He even complained that I hurt him. It was, but you think that fucking big guy would be like more stronger or tougher after beating all those guys. But I got him down, and when I was trying to actually pin him, I actually know some dirty tricks like taking my temple and my forehead, which is hard, and rubbing it right in his temple, and it made it hurt, jerked enough, and I got both his shoulder blades on the mat and pinned him. He's like, ow, that hurt. Jeez. But yeah, practicing with that made me so much better anyway. And also that is a story of why I wanted to bring that up, and it's the backstory of in my last video when I was saying things like this. The things I could do if I were able to help like design Leroy's fighting style. Because I mean, this is right up my alley. In high school, I was a wrestler. I went to state for wrestling. I took boxing. I also took karate, Kai Kishinkai. I did line training in the Marine Corps. I love Tekken. I love mind games. I'm an artist. The things I could do, I love the IP Man style of fighting. Just the things I could do, and he wouldn't need stupid fucking gimmicks like that dumbass staff. He wouldn't need these fucking reversals that you can't chicken, which is bullshit. That Fuck You Man and Leroy both have these type of things. But he wouldn't need that stuff, that we can actually have a very unique fighter that would match his design. And then I would get rid of 2 characters, Josie and Fuck You Man, get rid of them and bring Bruce back. So now you guys can completely understand of how that would transfer over into Tekken, and how I can understand when it comes to like designing, like when Harada designs characters over different disciplines, and I can understand how that works, because like karate, wrestling, and boxing, they're completely, I mean, they do have some similarities, but they're different disciplines. And like something like Taekwondo is like a mixture of all those disciplines together. But and my knowledge of those things transfer over to like when I'm playing Tekken, right? And I like that stuff. I'm passionate about it. But, you know, somebody who's really good at what they're doing, they don't need to bring it up or anything like that. It's just you can understand the mindset of it, right? And why I would bring that up and say that when we're talking about character design. So, with that, that's why what happened next was very humorous and entertaining to me. Because immediately after I did that video talking about karate, boxing, and wrestling, Michael Murray changes his Twitter profile pic to this. Well, isn't that entertaining? Because, I mean, this is right up my alley. In high school, I was a wrestler. I went to state for wrestling. I took boxing. I also took karate, Kai Kishinkai. So, whose fist was Kazuya punching? Michael?
So what Chinga actually means like it's a form of anger. Usually you'll see it in business negotiations. You know, someone will threaten or a counter offer and they'll go, I don't know about that. It actually is, and when people get in bar fights, you know that there's someone's about to throw a punch when they go like this.
Oh, really? Is it like, come on, go ahead?
Yeah, come on, I'm angry.
Even though this entire video is about Leroy and Fuck You Man, there's only one, he mentions one other Tekken character throughout this entire video. Just one. One other character. Out of a cast of about 50 characters, guess which character is the one he mentioned?
そうだよね、海外でもやっぱり鉄拳っつったらいったカポエラっていうか、ジンの本物の空手になった段階もあったりとか、ね、やっぱりジンの本物の空手になった段階もあったりとか、ね、やっぱりジンの本物の空手になった段階もあったりとか、ね、やっぱりジンの本物の空手になった段階もあったりとか、ね、やっぱり
Michael, you really don't want to go there. And plus, when I saw that picture, to me it's about as threatening and as adorable as me watching this video. And trust me, Phobe's way more threatening than you are, because he's planning for world domination. Okay, now feeding off that, let's start getting into some of the interesting design choices of Lydia. After everything I've said, especially like starting with a certain discipline in karate. That's interesting. I also took karate, Kai Kishinkai. I also took karate, Kai Kishinkai. I also took karate, Kai Kishinkai. Also, that it's a Polish prime minister. Why politics? why a Polish prime minister, especially when there's one person in the Tekken community who used the body language of presidents to point out things about Michael Murray. Also, there's only one person in the Tekken community who does videos on politics. And then we have a karate. We have somebody now who has a certain discipline in karate and has a link to politics. That's interesting. I want you all to look at the body language of these two guys, right? Michael Murray in particular, right? Check out the way they're seated and positioned, everything about them. Now I'm going to show y'all a comparison. Now, the article that I'm using, I'm going to leave a link to it in the description so you guys can go back and look at this stuff yourselves and go over it because it's just fascinating anyway. Right? But, like, it is, okay, we're going to do a comparison with these two men. And there's no, it's no secret that these two men are not fans of each other, right? But notice the positioning of their bodies, especially Obama, and compare it with the seating position of Michael Murray, right? Another interesting thing is her taunt. Now, where have I seen that bow before? I think I remember seeing it in a video when I was talking to Michael Murray's boss about Michael Murray. That's interesting. Now, the main key that I want to do is I want to get this information to Satoshi. Who knows, he might be watching this video now. I mean, Michael, you're watching it. Harada's watching it. The entire fighting game community is watching it right now. All the top influencers are all watching this video, so who knows? He might be. And sir, if you are watching this, Satoshi, I have seen how Harada mirrors you and he respects you. Because of that, you already have my respect. And you already have my respect. You already have my respect. Another interesting thing is her having the exact same type of guard breaker and another character with a guard breaker. Especially a guard breaker of exactly the type that I told Michael to take out a fuck you man before he dropped. That's another interesting thing about Lydia. These moves that y'all see in the trailer, a fuck you man, I'm going to tell y'all what they are. Those moves are guard breakers. They are exactly like Brian's taunt jet upper, except with no execution. Watch it again. Because when a move is hit on block, it does a little white spark. And this block move that Murdoch blocks this last kick is a block. Stumbles him back, and on the last frame right before recovery, fuck you man, hits him. And it's so pathetic because he even fucking robs Brian's mock punch to do it. He robs his guard breaker and he robs his mock punch. He's still copying and pasting some of the best moves in Tekken because this idiot doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And Michael Murray, I'm telling you right now, up front, and I'm warning you, and I'm telling you, you need to take that shit out now, because us Tekken players that know what that is and know how stupid that is are going to roast the fuck out of you if you let that shit drop in this game. Because now I just showed them exactly what that is. That you're a hack. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You did good. I'm glad you took that dumb shit out. Aren't you glad you listened, that you took that dumb shit out of the guard breaking stuff? Because now you gave a character and another very interesting thing is that in that trailer, when when it was showing Lydia's low parry, it's interesting that the character used for that is Harong. That very specific character was used to show Lydia's low parry. That's interesting. Because what that did is it made an interesting dynamic from we used to be happy with what we got, and then in season 3 complained about something, and then they did everything. So what that did was set up a mindset of, oh wait, I could get away with whatever I want. Instantly changing the dynamic. And it makes sense of why everybody's complaining, because they got away with it. And I'll tell you why this is bad, because I've already been through this stuff. Remember I said we used to have humongous get-togethers of Tekken back in the day, and one guy deemed it that lows and throws were cheap. So everybody listened to him, and so they stopped using lows and throws, except for me. This same mindset, it's still around. K-Wise just ran into this exact same problem because he ran into a guy who was cheating and using a bot that instantly, get this, instantly broke throws and instantly blocked lows. I'll leave the link to that video in here.
There's nothing I can do. I can't win this. I can't win this. I can't win this. There's genuinely nothing I can do. What do I do?
Lows and throws, just like that other guy. He didn't want lows and throws. Why? Because all he had to do was stand there and block. Where he didn't have to think or anything like that. He didn't like somebody getting inside their head. This same kind of manipulation is still going on. And what happened in season 3 was listening to this, of complaining about certain characters, not narrowing it down to like a certain move or something like that. Just characters to get an edge on somebody. And that's why it's fucking bullshit. And it also led to too much complaining. And what he would do is he would say, lows and throws are cheap. Why? Because he didn't like me kicking his ass and getting inside his fucking head. And then he would troll people and laugh at them and mock them to get them on his side. You're exactly like this. Because what did you do with the first character that you released when you got your hands on the reins? You made Leroy Smith. And what does Leroy Smith do? He automatically parries lows. And he can reverse, I'm not even going to call it parry because it's not. He can reverse a high and medium. Right? And now what he would do, what Vladimir would do when he would sit down and play me and I would fucking whoop his ass, he would get so mad he would look at me and he'd be like, you couldn't beat me if you weren't using those lows and throws. I didn't say nothing because one, I ain't got shit to prove to him because he's a fucking moron. But what you're doing is you're going after Jin, and you don't want Jin players. You don't want Jin players using forward 4. You don't want them using down back 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 4. You don't want them using down 4. You don't want them having a frame trap and forward 4-4. And you don't want them using standing 4. Regular standing magic 4. You want them just poking. That's it. You want them to poke, not use those other moves, but you will make a character that auto low parries lows and can reverse highs and mediums. You and Adrian are both fucking morons. And now the entire fighting game community sees it.
There's nothing I can do. I can't win this. There's nothing I can do. I can't win this. There's nothing I can do. I can't win this.
Another interesting thing about that trailer of Lydia's is the biggest controversy of, and this is the key move, and we're going to go over this today. The biggest controversy of Jin is the nerfing of his down back 4 launcher. And this is what it looks like. But look at this other move that Lydia has also. Check these two launching lows out. Season 2 Jin, Season 2 Jin and Lydia. Check this out. And now it's interesting that in the trailer, Jin is singled out. And what is the very first move that Lydia does to Jin? And look at his name. Fukuman? How about fuck you, man? You guys just got trolled and you haven't even fucking caught on yet. This is the kind of guy you're dealing with right now. This is the kind of guy you're dealing with right now. This is the kind of guy you're dealing with right now. And now let's get down to the way she looks. Because when she first came out, everybody was like, she looks like a Nina clone. It's not a Nina clone. Actually, it looks like an older version of somebody that I know. And I know it's her. Okay, as soon as I saw the eyes in the character select scene, character select menu, and I saw a good picture of her, and I saw her eyes, I knew exactly who she was designed after. Those eyes look very familiar. Hey, Cinderella, those eyes look familiar to you too? And I know it's her because Adrian couldn't take his eyes off of her either. And he mistaken her for looking like Nina. And the only reason she's a Polish prime minister and not a Russian prime minister is because Nina's already Russian. Right? So, now, Michael, I understand that she is beautiful. That's why I drew her. And it's almost, it's a bit over the top where that drawing, if you took, it's almost like you copy and pasted her lips straight off the drawing right onto Lydia's face. And it's almost flattering to do that. But with all of that said, keep your eyes off of her. Because that is about the only thing that would have me accept your invitation. And trust me, Michael, you don't want that. That would not be a healthy choice. And actually, that goes for everybody that's in my circle. Unless you, specifically, Michael, unless I invite you to that circle, you keep your eyes off of all of them. And that's one thing I will give credit to Adrian, because he snuck his way into my circle, and I told him to be respectful. And he has been. Thank you for that, Adrian. It's well done. And I know he has been, because this is also still on his... This is still on his YouTube. Before I knew he snuck in there, and before I said that to him, he, in one of his videos, started talking shit about my friend Justin, about a haircut he had when he was younger. And I thought it was kind of... I was like, oh, really? Because he's a bit disrespectful about it. And then I called Adrian out, and I told him to be respectful. The next time he mentioned that haircut after that, and he did again, and this is also in his, this is still on his YouTube, he was very careful with his words, and he was much more respectful. Thank you for that, Adrian. And that was a pretty smart choice, because, trust me, you don't want on Justin's savage side. He could crush you in every sense of the word. And my money would be on Justin, because I have his back, but with you, he wouldn't need my back. But that said, thank you. You have been very respectful ever since I've said that. Michael, that's the only thing I'm telling you to take notes of from Adrian. But with you, Michael, you're not invited around them, and keep your eyes off of Cinderella. Got it? So yeah, Harada and Satoshi, you guys need to get your boy under control and, I don't know, teach him to keep his fucking eyes to himself. But anyway, moving on. Okay, so why is it that when Michael Murray listens to me, even when he's pissed off, and he listens to me, when he listens to me, it works, compared to when he listens to Adrian or does things on his own, it doesn't work. What is this magic formula that I got that's got everybody's attention? Why? I'll tell you why. I know exactly why. Because I understand Harada's vision for Tekken, for the game and everything, exactly like Dave Filoni understands George Lucas's vision for Star Wars. That's why it works for The Mandalorian and the Clone Wars, but it didn't work for like Kathleen Kennedy's sequel trilogies that were garbage, or the first Whedon's Justice League, because Michael inherited something that he didn't build up, and he doesn't care about the characters and stuff like that, or nerfing them or destroying them. He doesn't care. He doesn't understand the vision. He doesn't care. He's only looking out for his interests. Also, the same thing goes for Adrian. Adrian is also looking out for his own interest. He doesn't know or understand Harada's vision like I understand Harada's vision. Well, what's Harada's vision? I can sum it up in this story for you guys to understand it, because I'm sure that Harada himself can't even probably properly explain it, but I can do that. I can sum it up in a story, and it was right before the arcades completely died out. The last real arcade for Tekken was Tekken 5, and that was also the one where you could take, they finally had in the arcade, you can actually plug in your PlayStation controller into the Tekken 5 arcade stands, which I was like, holy shit, so that means I can actually play Tekken with the controller I practice with? That's fucking nuts. So it was when that was a time when I was I wasn't living in my town. I was out of town, and I came into town, and I went to the mall and went to the last arcade that the mall around here had, and Tekken 5 was there. I brought my controller, and I go in, and it's kind of quiet in there, and remember I got some tokens. I used to always fucking hate arcades that did tokens and not quarters. I was like, because you don't know how many games you're going to play, and if you had tokens left over, you couldn't get your quarters back. I was like, that's where they got you. I was like, that's fucking dirty. So I took $1, got 4 tokens, went up, put in my 50 cents, and started playing some Tekken with my controller. A guy walks up and the play. Go ahead and I play him, whoop his ass. Another guy comes up, I play him, I beat him. Another guy comes up, and people started putting their quarters down, and they started rotating. Now this has happened to me a lot when I was traveling a lot at different arcades, and it always blew people away. And now I'm in my hotel, and it started drawing a crowd because I'd stay there for about hour and a half, maybe longer. And it was almost like a Gatling gun rotating, where these couple guys just kept trying to play me and just kind of beat me. And I'm 50 cents, just, 20, 30, 40 some odd wins in a row, right? And nobody had ever seen that. Well, it drew a crowd. But everybody who was watching it was silent in that arcade. And these guys just kept trying to beat me. I was using Kazuya, and I was just whooping everybody's ass. Of course, everybody watching was completely stunned. And then finally it happened. It was one of those crazy games like my friends, those players who come in that will just like mash buttons, like old Eddie players back in the day and stuff like that. Me and my friends call them RBPers, and what that is a random button pusher. They just hit random buttons. Like, hey, we got a new guy coming over Tekken tonight. Oh, cool. Can he play? Nah, he's an RBPer. Well, bring him in anyway. But there's a danger in RBPer because there's no predictability to them, no rhyme or reason. Sometimes they'll just get lucky and get like full matches on him because they're just hitting things at the right time that nothing you can do. Everybody's been in those matches before. Well, it was kind of like facing an RBP, and this guy was using Ho wrong, right? And it was like every time I got close to him, he would just hit a button, and somehow, no matter what it was, it would magically hit me. Like, it was just one of those. It just kept me getting one of those matches where he'd hit the button and crush like my jab or my dick jab or anything like that, and I just couldn't get close enough because those long legs just kept hitting me. I was getting frustrated because I know there was no way that he was predicting. I had been beating this guy for like an hour and a half, and him and his friends, and it was just like one of those where everything he was doing was right and everything I was doing, I couldn't. It was I just started listening to the guy, and I was getting frustrated because I couldn't get near him. And I know he wasn't thinking it. It was just he was hitting the right buttons at the right times. It was driving me freaking crazy. Even with that, it came down to the last match, a sliver of life. And he got me, and it was one of those great moments, right? And like he barely pulled it off. And I was like, first reaction was like, oh, hell no. Okay, I'm going to destroy this guy because we've all had matches like that. And he can't get, lucky 2 times in a row. Didn't even think about it. Went in my pocket for my my other 2 tokens because I'd only used 2. Grabbed them, and then I looked over at him to look down where I put the tokens in. My eyes glanced across him to go put the tokens in. And when I looked at the guy, it was this maybe just a little bit taller than me, shaggy hair, dressed nice, kind of preppy dude. He had slender arms, slender guy. He just looked like a nice, cool dude, like somebody who I'd be friends with, right? But when I looked over him, he didn't realize, because I looked so quick, he didn't realize I was looking, but he was tensed up, and after the grade, it's like he was holding his breath, and then he goes like this. Like you could tell he was so stressed and so tense that he couldn't believe he just won, right? And I saw the guy, all my frustration of the entire match instantly evaporated, and I became instantly proud of the guy because he stuck with it. He kept going at it and kept going at it until he actually won. I was proud of the dude. I looked at him, and my hand was still in my pocket, and my fist was gripping the tokens. I let go of the tokens. I unplugged my controller. I patted him on the back. I said, "Good job, dude." And I walked away. And when I did it, he was like so shy he wouldn't even look at me. When I patted him on the back, I was like, "Good job." He would just kind of nodded at me like that. But I said, "Good job," pat him on my back, and I turned and I walked away, and then I looked over in my left corner to watch. The entire crowd, stunned, nobody's talking, everybody has eyes like, they're like plates. They all watch me walk away, and they all look back at him. And some of the guys who had been playing, you could tell some of the dudes were friends, came up and started patting him on the back, and he was just like, still stood there like he was shocked. And then the guy who had his token up to play next comes in to start playing him. But it was that was more satisfying to me at that moment than getting in there and like playing him again or winning like that. Because who knows what that moment would have done to that guy. How that could have been a building block, a mental building block in his life to be like, he slayed the dragon. He kept at it until he defeated the dragon, right? And he kept at something until he figured it out, until he won. No matter what the scenario was. And he took me down in my strength. And he, at his full strength, I didn't want. And it was one of those. It wasn't like I wanted to tear him down after that. It isn't like I wanted to be going around and be like, let's nerf Hallring's legs so I could get in closer to him so I could beat him next time. No, I was proud of the guy for actually winning, for sticking with it, taking me down at my fullest strength and him at his fullest strength. And the mentality of that and the mindset of that, who knows what that would do, and if he even thinks about that moment in his life, because it was just a random guy I met at an arcade. Who knows what that could have led to in his life if he has more building blocks like that leading into his life. And that is the vision of Harada for Tekken. Yes, it's a difficult game, but yes, it makes you push yourself to become better and uplift other people to become stronger and better and problem solve. Not to tear other people down, to be at your fullest strength and take down your opponent when they're at their fullest. That's what makes the game special. That's what makes it powerful, and that is the actual vision of Harada. So how does Adrian and Knee fit into this equation, right? Well, let's get into the Scrupman drama that happened. All right, and let's look at the whole story of what actually happened, because most people don't know this, that Adrian has been passive-aggressive toward Knee for years. Now, he respects Knee, but he's also extremely jealous of Knee. And you're only going to find out a lot about Adrian, that he's a hypocrite on everything he says. And he does not do anything by logic. He does it by his emotions. All right? So when I'm talking about passive-aggressive, look at all the things that Adrian's been saying about Knee, and about all of this is before the Scrupman thing happened. Watch.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like a good season for Brian players, and I can't wait to see Brian utilized more. Mr. Naps is going to do awesome stuff in tournaments. That's Jimmy from the US. And let's hope maybe even Nee picks up Brian, or, well, maybe he'll just stick to tier whoring. We'll just see. Well, maybe he'll just stick to tier whoring. We'll just see. Well, maybe he'll just stick to tier whoring. We'll just see. Pisses me off so much. And the tier whoring is just disgusting. I just can't even, I can't defend anyone's tier whoring. It's becoming that game where suddenly, in prior seasons, people would play the characters they enjoyed, but now I feel like more and more players are just, what's the flavor of the day? Or the flavor of the month? I'll play that character. You know, who's the top tier now? Oh, it used to be Steve and Geese. You see them all over the place. And now it's gonna be, now it's Akuma. In this tournament there were a lot of Akumas. There's gonna be a lot of Akumas now. It's so sad. Oh, Nee's probably sitting there thinking, how am I gonna beat Arslan Ash? And he tries Devil Jin, he tries Steve, he tries, well, insert all of the classic characters. He tried Kazumi. Well, he tried Kazuya as well. But now he tries Akuma. But this is not gonna have, now you're not gonna see Nee and Nobi and all the other lazy tier whore sons of bitches, you know, have a backup Steve in every fucking tournament. Have they already tweeted, oh, Steve is dead, oh, oh, oh. If they haven't already, it's incoming. Thank God. Now let's have a Steve enthusiasts play the character. The people who actually have cocks. And of course, anytime this character is nerfed, you have a lot of top players who are very upset. It's a bit like with Jin. I think it's a little bit of living in a bubble where your character is always meant to be incredibly strong, and anytime he's nerfed, it's like, come on, your character is always top 5. Every single game, every season, top 5, top 3. Or arguably the best character in season 3, and oh, he's nerfed. No! You know. Can you just imagine being JDCR, devoting so much time to like Armor King and Heihachi, characters who've always been deeply flawed. Deeply flawed. Can you imagine being him, struggling in tournaments? I mean, at the highest level of play, playing Heihachi, I don't understand how he does it. You have no lows. It's not like you have a cool throw game to compensate. It's like, and electrics, crouch cancel electrics. It's like, okay, how do you do that? How do you even do that? And then imagine being him, seeing Jin players and Steve players receiving tiny slaps on the wrist, and they're on the ground in a fetus position. It's like, welcome to my life.
And now watch this. This is very interesting because everything that Adrian accuses Nee of, he is actually guilty of himself. Those are the things that actually Adrian does. Also, if you're wondering why there's such a bias from Adrian when it comes to why he's always sucking JDCR's dick, is because him and Adrian are friends and have actually hung out together.
Okay, so small interview here with Mr. JDCR. So first of all, I like
but he hasn't hung out with Nee, so he has a complete bias against that, and jealousy towards Nee. But yeah, watch this, that every single thing that he accuses Nee of, he's actually guilty of himself. Watch.
Maybe even Nee picks up Brian, or, well, maybe he'll just stick to tier whoring. We'll just see. In prior seasons, people would play the characters they enjoyed, but now I feel like more and more players are just, what's the flavor of the day? Or the flavor of the month? I'll play that character. You know, who's the top tier now? Oh, it used to be Steve and Geese.
Oh, Nee's probably sitting there thinking, how am I gonna beat Arslan Ash? And he tries Devil Jin, he tries Steve, he tries, well, insert all of the classic characters. He tried Kazumi. Well, he tried Kazuya as well.
Thank God! Now let's have the Steve enthusiasts play the character. The people who actually have cocks.
Very stressed as well. It's stressful playing Kazuya, you know. Especially, it's not stressful when you play death matches online. It's a lot of fun, you have a lot of time to figure out matchups. But in tournaments, it's stressful, and I wanted to have fun, so I was like, I'm gonna try and play Geese. Better tournament character for me, and I can relax more, and I can have like just a lot of fun. And yeah, I was surprised to see people saying that, oh, you're not a character loyalist, and you're a tier whore for picking Geese. It's like,
thank God! Now let's have the Steve enthusiasts play the character. The people who actually have cocks.
And yeah, I was surprised to see people saying that, oh, you're not a character loyalist, and you're a tier whore for picking Geese. It's like,
now let's have the Steve enthusiasts play the character. The people who actually have cocks. Can you just imagine being JDCR? Devoting so much time to like Armor King and Heihachi, characters who've always been deeply flawed. Deeply flawed. Can you imagine being him, struggling in tournaments?
Very stressed as well. It's stressful playing Kazuya, you know. Especially, it's not stressful when you play death matches online. It's a lot of fun, you have a lot of time to figure out matchups. But in tournaments, it's stressful, and I wanted to have fun, so I was like, I'm gonna try and play Geese.
Now let's have the Steve enthusiasts play the character. The people who actually have cocks.
Akuma was released with Tekken 7 FR during the summer of 2016. So guys like Nii, you know, and Nobi, and all of your, you know, established Tekken connoisseurs, you know, the legends, they've had access to Akuma for, what is it now? Is it 3 years? Akuma is too crazy, no meter, he kills you. So then Bandai Namco nerfed him prior to the console release. And do you know what everyone said about Akuma? He's dead, unplayable, useless, no damage, just a crap character. And every top player put Akuma at mid-tier. Everyone. Geese was determined to be 50 times better than Akuma, pretty much by everyone. And then slowly, Super Akuma starts doing well with the character, and he's doing the combos consistently. And now people are saying, the damage is broken. Not a good character, but man, when he gets a launch, the damage is broken. And then, we've gone from that to people then saying that, no, Season 2 Akuma is actually OP. He should be nerfed. Down 1-2 counter hit panic move is too stupid. Down 2 into Hadouken. Dumb. Why can't he launch me from a 10-frame jab? And I'm sorry, but how is it that suddenly all of these amazing players who said the character was bad are suddenly saying he's overpowered? So why did everyone have an opinion on Akuma then? If no one played him, if no one had even tried to do all of the combos Super Akuma did. No one had even fucking bothered to try with the character, but everyone felt they could just brush him off like a fucking piece of garbage. I just find it so comical, and it's so pathetic. I'm just astounded at the community, to be honest. And I'm saying I probably made the same mistake, but And every top player put Akuma at mid-tier. And every top player put Akuma at mid-tier. And same thing with fucking Kazumi. Oh, Season 1, she's so strong. Season 2, forget about Kazumi, she's dead. How many top players didn't say that? And then fucking Arslan comes there and beasts everyone with Kazumi. And what do you see the next day after Evo Japan? He's playing Kazumi. Kokoma is playing Kazumi. Everyone's playing Kazumi suddenly. I don't know. I just find it so disappointing. The character tier whoring and the giving, you know, super certain reviews on characters, you know, and all these tier lists. When you can just say, I ain't got no fucking clue. Akuma's been out for 2.5 years, and you know what, guys? I'm a top player. I'd like to do a review on Akuma. But you know what? I don't fucking play the character. No one I know plays the goddamn character. We don't know what he can do. Because no one bothers with him. But no, 3 fucking years later, some French guy does well with the character and overpower. Oh, I'm a pro Akuma. Oh yeah. But yes, I think all of that explains in quite the detail how Akuma just, if you have a skill, I don't see any other character being as strong, to be honest. If it's an AI playing this character, doing perfect punishes, with, you know, perfect execution, can any other character output like this? I don't think so. So yeah, that is why Akuma is super obnoxious, bringing his system into Tekken. They did a great job with it. He's very original, he's very different. But I think this will always be a debate in that, can you implement these 2D mechanics in Tekken? How is this not busted? How is this damage not busted? So yeah, Akuma will just forever remain one of the absolute best characters.
So then comes up the Knee's been quietly taking this from Adrian for years because Knee's, you know, a very humble, awesome fucking person. But then he says this statement.
It looks something like this.
Which is interesting about this segment because this is, Adrian's almost said these exact same things before, word for word.
So yeah, that is why Akuma is super obnoxious, bringing his system into Tekken. But I think this will always be a debate in that, can you implement these 2D mechanics in Tekken? How is this not busted? How is this damage not busted? So yeah, Akuma will just forever remain one of the absolute best characters.
So basically, there's not much different in what Knee's saying. And this is something that Adrian said himself, but then Adrian has to put his 2 cents in.
Yes, let's rob 6 million people of cool guest characters, because 2 of them are problematic at the absolute highest level of play. Is it a character that came out because 6 million people wanted it? It's just a wish that it doesn't come out. Hey, Hella Scrapman, will you shut up?
And we all know what happened after that. Adrian's true colors start coming out.
2 hours later.
And spent some time there years ago. The Korean scene is the dirtiest and ugliest Tekken scene in the world. But people don't know about it because when they show up to tournaments, they're all like this. They play elegant like this, and they smile, and they never trash talk, they never boo, they never shout, they never gloat, they're always... But it's a facade.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it? Yeah, I stabbed a man in the heart.
When the Tekken community got a hold of that, oh my god, did they have fucking fun with it. Even No Pants, who is fucking hilarious, and Eris, who both make me cry still, cry laughing still. They even did some little hints to taking jabs at that whole situation too. So then what does Adrian do? He apologizes for the dumb things he said.
There's a clip going around that is very much clipped out of context. If you watch the entire stream, you'll understand more my point of view, but it was still insensitive, and that was me being a little bit tired and disgruntled. But I do apologize. I'm gonna get into all of it. I just wanted to, very quickly explain what has happened.
But then tries to play the victim card, but he's the one who fucking started all this shit in the first place.
It was a tweet interaction with the god himself, Ni. I interjected with a response to something he said, and he responded a certain way. I'm gonna go through it all. And in that particular scenario, I feel like I did nothing wrong whatsoever. And in that particular scenario, I feel like I did nothing wrong whatsoever. And in that particular scenario, I feel like I did nothing wrong whatsoever. Maybe even Ni picks up Brian, or, well, maybe he'll just stick to tear whoring. We'll just see. But this is not gonna have... Now you're not gonna see Ni and Nobi and all the other lazy tear whore sons of bitches, have a backup Steve in every fucking tournament. Have they already tweeted, "Oh, Steve is dead, oh, oh, oh." If they haven't already, it's incoming. Thank God. Now let's have a Steve enthusiasts play the character. The people who actually have cocks. Oh, he's nerfed. No, Oh, he's nerfed. No, Oh, he's nerfed. No, And they're on the ground in a fetus position. And they're on the ground in a fetus position. And they're on the ground in a fetus position. I feel like I did nothing wrong whatsoever. So yeah, that is why Akuma is super obnoxious, bringing his system into Tekken. But I think this will always be a debate in that, can you implement these 2D mechanics in Tekken? How is this not busted? How is this damage not busted? So yeah, Akuma will just forever remain one of the absolute best characters.
Yes, let's rob 6 million people of cool guest characters, because 2 of them are problematic at the absolute highest level of play. Is it a character that came out because 6 million people wanted it? It's just a wish that it doesn't come out. Hey, hello Scrapman, will you shut up?
I feel like I did nothing wrong whatsoever. And spent some time there years ago. And spent some time there years ago. And spent some time there years ago. The Korean scene is the dirtiest and ugliest Tekken scene in the world. But people don't know about it because when they show up to tournaments, they're all like this. And they play elegant like this, and they smile, and they never trash talk, they never boo, they never shout, they never gloat. They're always... But it's a facade. It's a facade. It's a facade. And spent some time there years ago. And spent some time there years ago. Can I get a fucking throw? Oh, I mean, how many hits does it fucking have? Of course, of course. Fucking annoying. Of course, of course. No! Thank God. Fuck me. That was so close. Go for a mid kick. Oh, fuck. So gay. God, I hate that hop kick. Oh, the crushing. Oh, so annoying. What the fuck was that? I mean, I just can't do anything. I mean, it's just impossible to leave. What the fuck was that? Oh, these noob fucking gimmicks. Hop kicks, hop kicks, hop. Trash talk. They never boo, they never shout, they never gloat. They're always. But it's a facade. I'm mashing down forward 2 and his comes out faster than mine every single time. Is his connection faster than mine? What do you mean you're too slow? I'm mashing it. How does it always come out faster than mine? How does it always come out faster than mine? The round starts are fucking unfair. They're fucking unfair. Fuck you. Trash talk. They never boo, they never shout, they never gloat. They're always. But it's a facade. I feel like I did nothing wrong whatsoever.
This is actually hilarious. I do want to point this out. I made this joke about Michael Murray. Man, the only reason you're winning is because your character's cheap. No, not really. The reason that you're losing and we're beating you is because you suck. Nuh-uh, fuck you. What I want to do is I want to nerf all your characters. And then I want to make the perfect characters. And I'm going to come back and kick all your asses. Man, get the fuck out of here. Kick rocks, kid. I don't give a fuck if you nerf Kazuya all the way back to Tekken 1 Kazuya and you make your fucking characters. I'll still beat your ass because you're so it's so easy to mentally ass rape you. And if I got Tekken Kazuya 1, I'll have my standing twin piston, the rising sun kicks, which crushes everything. Jin will still be in his nut stat, so it'll be twice as strong, and I'll still whoop your ass. Now get the fuck out of here and kick rocks, kid. Man, fuck you guys! Now soon after, which I didn't understand at first, is Adrian comes after me with one of his videos reviewing an older video of mine, and he's pissed off in it. But it wasn't until I noticed that he mirrored that very specific part. Watch this. Then it dawned on me that that is actually Adrian's train of thought. If he loses, he wants to nerf your character so that he can win. I, not even realize it, accidentally going for Michael, slapped both of them in the face with one strike. Backhand both them bitches. And that's why he got pissed off. And I was like, that's funny. Also showing that is Adrian's agenda because it pissed him off. And I wasn't even aiming at him. That shit makes me chuckle. So what happens after that? Michael ends up taking Adrian's side, which is ridiculous because apparently they got each other's back and are always sword fighting with each other's dicks. But it's in the Lydia trailer because what happens? Brian is singled out, followed by Paul, followed by Steve, who uses those three in tournaments. And when it comes to Steve, that's when it does the reverse punch on Steve. Right after that, Steve is nerfed. When Michael is pissed at me, he nerfs Jin. Now he's nerfing Steve. That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of to come after Knee. Knee will do more for Tekken than you, Michael, or you, Adrian, combined ever will. Not just for Tekken, for the entire fighting game community. That's why I made this video. I don't really care if somebody... When you guys say things about me, it kind of makes me laugh. But going after Knee, that shit pissed me off. You'll bring the entire fighting game community down on your dumbass heads for that fucking dumb shit. That's why I got irritated. I'm doing this for Knee because I've got Knee's back. He's devoted his entire life to this game, and that shit was fucking bullshit.
But this is not gonna have... Now you're not gonna see Knee and Nobi and all the other lazy tier whore sons of bitches, you know, have a backup Steve in every fucking tournament. Have they already tweeted, "Oh, Steve is dead, oh, oh, oh." If they haven't already, it's incoming. Thank God. Now let's have a Steve enthusiasts play the character. The people who actually have cocks. Oh, he's nerfed. No! You know. Oh, he's nerfed. No! You know. And they're on the ground in a fetus position. And they're on the ground in a fetus position. Maybe even Knee picks up Brian, or, well, maybe he'll just stick to tier whoring. We'll just see. Do you see anything different with that title screen there? Oh, right. It's... I think that's Tekken 7 Season 4. Oh, your title screen doesn't look like that. You don't have Season 4. Maybe you're just a loser. I'm just kidding. Of course you're not a loser. You're not a huge, massive loser. Trust me.
How about, fuck you, man? You guys just got trolled, and you haven't even fucking caught on yet. This is the kind of guy you're dealing with right now. This is the kind of guy you're dealing with right now. This is the kind of guy you're dealing with right now. Even Adrian knows that the Steve nerf was bullshit and unnecessary.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They could have left him the way he is because he's so unbelievably difficult to play. And Michael, let me show you some things about fucking Adrian.
because you need to learn to stop listening to him. Because Adrian does not base anything off facts. He bases it off his own selfish ambitions. Let me show you some fucking things about that. He only bases his things off of his emotions. So let's talk about Jin and his down back 4 nerf, because I said we would come back to that move. Did you guys know that that move, more than any other move, is the key? The nerfing of that one move is the key that shows the entire motivation behind the whole balancing thing and shows what actually is going on with the whole balancing. It shows the motive behind the entire balancing is based off one thing and one thing only: jealousy. That move is the key that shows why for 2.5 decades and in Tekken 7 all the way up through Season 2, the game was considered balanced and the Tekken community was considered positive. As soon as Season 3 hit, the Tekken community is now considered toxic and everything is in question and everything's falling apart. And it's based off the nerfing of that one particular move, which is the key that shows everything and the motive behind Michael Murray and Adrian is that one single move, and it will show the future of what can potentially be the death of the game, starting with that one particular move. So how is that? Let me explain that. Okay, so that move, first I'm going to explain how that move shows it, and then I'm going to show everything that led up to that one move being nerfed and the reason and the why behind it. Y'all will get to see this. So that one move, I've been launching off of that move for over 10 years, the last 3 games, and even in this game, the first 2 seasons. So for over a decade, on counter hit only, I've been launching off of down back 4, right? That move is completely fair. Nobody was complaining about that move. Nobody was overusing it. You weren't seeing it a ton in tournaments. You weren't even hearing about. Nobody complained about that move. Why? Because the move is completely fair. Right? Jin is standing up. You can jab him out of it. It is a low. It's a seeable low. You can see it coming. You can duck it. On top of that, it only launches only on counter hit. Nobody complained about the move. Nobody was saying anything about the move. Everybody knew it was a good move, but everybody knew it was a fair move. So why would they nerf it? There would be only one reason. With all that said and everything about that, there's only one reason to nerf that move. One reason only. And that reason is to make Jin as a whole weaker. And why would you do that when that move is completely fair? To appease one person in the Tekken community who's complaining about that.
I've been screaming for nerfs a long time. But now, so, yeah, it seems like the developers heard us all, or heard one particular individual. Hello, gym players. No, just kidding. That was a joke. No ill feelings towards you guys. Nah, that was also a joke. Oh, hello, gym players. Oh, hello, gym players.
So that actually shows the motive behind it. Now watch the story that led up to that. This is where it gets really interesting. So what starts this whole thing is Adrian has an opinion that Jin and Devil Jin are better than Kazuya or the best in the entire game. This is only based on people's opinions. Why do we know this? Because the data does not support that. That is the part they try to keep quiet. Because everybody knows, but we're getting the data already. Steve player, Jin player, Devil Jin players are getting bodied. It has nothing to do with the character. It has to do with who's behind the character. But the opinion is that Jin and Devil Jin are strong, and Adrian holds this opinion because he's only comparing it off of Kazuya, and his only goal is he wants Kazuya to be considered the top character in the game, and he doesn't give a fuck how he gets there. But his opinion now is that Jin and Devil Jin are better than Kazuya, so he wants to tear them down. But that's his opinion. Now with that, but he's saying Jin or Devil Jin is the top player in the game, and who uses Devil Jin? You got Ni, who's been using him for a year, and Q-Dons, right? Think of that. That's Ni and Q-Dons. So of course he holds the opinion that Devil Jin is the top in the game, and then something interesting happens. Book beats Ni. He beats him using Jin. It's Kazuya versus Jin. Now think about that. Adrian's rooting for Ni to win Kazuya because that's all he wants. He wants Kazuya to be considered the top. And then Ni loses to Book, who's using Jin. I bet that had to fucking sting. Right, Adrian? The very next tournament, Ni uses Jin and wins the very next tournament. And everybody was like, why the fuck is he using Jin? They even thought he was going to lose and thought it was a dumb pick for him to use Jin. But he wins. This is Ni we're talking about, though. So again, another jab at Adrian. And now he's getting fucking even more pissed off. Because he only has one goal. He wants Kazuya to be considered. And it's only opinion because the dad is not supporting it. He wants Kazuya to be considered the top dog. Right? So, and the thing about it is with the Book and Ni didn't hand it to him. Actually, Ni, the first time he fought Book in that tournament, he fucking destroyed him using Kazuya. He fucking obliterated him. He put him in the loser bracket. Book had to win his way back and then play Ni again and then reset the back bracket, and it was a fucking slugfest. And then he had to beat Ni. So he actually won it legitly. And then Ni wins the next tournament with Jin. Now Adrian's getting irritated. Then Adrian goes to Evo. And Evo, it's a double elimination. He loses to an Eddie player, which he posts on his YouTube channel. He shows the match that he lost. The one he doesn't show and the one he doesn't mention is he loses to a Jin player. Now look at Adrian's face when he loses. Adrian comes back. And this is when he starts his campaign that Jin is the top player in the game. And then he also starts making videos of how he wants Jin nerfed. And he's saying things like this.
The top. Because in my opinion, this is the best character in the game, and he is also perfectly well-rounded. The only thing Jin has lacking are some range issues on some moves. But then he has forward 4, forward 4-2, dash electric, back to 1, you fucking name it. This character has no flaws in my opinion. The only problem a Jin player has is the problem a 14-year-old girl has when she's gonna go on her first date and she says, oh my god, these jeans are so sexy, but these jeans are also so sexy. Oh god, I have 8 pair of jeans, they're all so sexy, which one should I use? That can happen to a Jin player. This move is godlike, this move is godlike, this move is also so good, which one should I use? And they lose themselves. They're like, they can't pick what godlike move to use. and then they freeze up, and you might actually be able to win, you know, pressure them a little bit. He is just too perfect. He needs a nerf. Maybe not nerf forward 4, even though I would like to see that be unsafe at least, considering the range. But standing 4 counter hit has to be removed. Down 4 should be made more unsafe, again, in my opinion. That's where you can start to make him more interesting again, because honestly, with these two characters, it's like how much do you feel it's a player's accomplishment when they win with those characters? How much do you feel it's a player's accomplishment when they win with those characters? How much do you feel it's a player's accomplishment when they win with those characters?
Like, you could tell he was so stressed and so tense that he couldn't believe he just won, right? And I saw the guy, all my frustration of the entire match instantly evaporated, and I became instantly proud of the guy. I unplugged my controller. I patted him on the back. I said, "Good job, dude," and I walked away. Which is bullshit, and he knows it, because he knows Jin is difficult. He actually sucks with Jin and can't use him.
How much do you feel it's a player's accomplishment when they win with those characters? You know, true Tekken God, I've lost that rank, what, 4, 5 times? 10 tons, what's up? And you see, 1,000 matches. 1,000 matches. Oh, yes. Yes. God, I'm fucking shaking. God damn it. God, I was so nervous playing that match, like. There's just so much work behind that. So many times I've been demoted with Jin. Just, I don't know how many times just demoted from Emperor, Tekken King, Tekken God, and then 4 or 5 times demoted from true Tekken God back down to Tekken God. I've had so much difficulty embracing Jin as a character, as he's just very complicated. But, man, in the end, I actually fucking made it. I'm super happy with that. Super happy with that. How much do you feel it's a player's accomplishment when they win with those characters? It's very complicated. You have to use all of these attacks, you know, in great synergy with each other. I really like Jin, and he's one of the Tekken God Prime ranks I've achieved that I take the most pride in. It was very difficult. He's a very hard character to play. How much do you feel it's a player's accomplishment when they win with those characters?
And this is when I come into the picture because I start calling Adrian out on his bullshit. And now this is when Michael Murray steps in, because Michael Murray steps in and takes the reins over in season 3. And Michael listens to Adrian, thinking Adrian knows what he's talking about, when he doesn't, because he's basing everything off of off his emotions and off of his opinions. And Michael listens to him, and he nerfs Jin's down back 4 because of this one comment that Adrian said.
He needs a nerf. Maybe not nerf forward 4, even though I would like to see that be unsafe at least, considering the range. But standing 4 counter hit has to be removed. Down 4 should be made more unsafe. Down 4 should be made more unsafe. Down 4 should be made more unsafe. I've been screaming for nerfs a long time. But now, so yeah, it seems like the developers heard us all, or heard one particular individual. Hello, gym players. No, just kidding. That was a joke. No ill feelings towards you guys. Nah, that was also a joke. Oh, hello, gym players. Oh, hello, gym players.
And I come in and I call them both out on their bullshit constantly. And that's why they keep getting fucking angry at me. You know, one of my signature outro moves is this. So Adrian is very specific who he's directing this one particular comment to.
Hello, gym players. No, just kidding. That was a joke. No ill feelings towards you guys. Nah, that was also a joke. Oh, hello, gym players. Oh, hello, gym players.
So, whose fist was Kazuya punching? Michael?
Oh, hello, gym players. Oh, hello, gym players.
How about, fuck you, man. You guys just got trolled, and you haven't even fucking caught on yet. This is the kind of guy you're dealing with right now. This is the kind of guy you're dealing with right now. This is the kind of guy you're dealing with right now. Now watch this. This gets even more interesting. Okay, so after Jin gets nerfed again in Season 4, look where Adrian puts him on Adrian's tier list.
And then we have Jin. And Jin is interesting. In my opinion, he's not top 10 anymore. He's top 20. Still a very strong character, very hard to play. But they keep nerfing key tools. Most notably here was Ford 4 removed plus frames. It's now neutral on block. And standing 4 got nerfed. He got a couple of like nerfs to key tools.
but they buffed his poking, and that's where they want Jin to be. That's where the design team are saying like, okay, we overdid it with standing 4 and all of that, and down back 4 back then. Let's go back to more poking oriented with Jin. Still a very solid character, but I don't believe he's top 10 anymore.
Now watch this. Immediately after that, Nee drops a video saying that, you know, with the Steve nerfs, he's dropping Steve on his tier list, and look at the 5 that he puts in his top 5. And 2 of them, one of them is Jin, and one of them is Devil Jin. Check this out.
그래서 이제 상대적으로 이제 세진 캐릭터들 있잖아. 얘네가 지금 좀 죽었잖아요. 스티브 죽고, 파콤난도 너프 당하고, 그 다음에 줄리아도 너프 당하니까 상대적으로 좋아진 애들. 자, 1.5 티였던 데빌진, 그죠? 근데 얘가 이제 졸라 할만하겠지. 1.5 티였는데 위에 놈들이 죽었으니까 얘가 이제 할만해질 거야. 데빌진이 할만해질 거고, 그 다음에 뭐 기스도 얘네 셋이 존나 짜증나는데 얘네 셋이 좀 죽었기 때문에 기스도 이제 할만해지겠지. 그죠? 그 다음에 놈진이 안 그래도 좋았는데 위에 3명이 죽어서 얘도 이제 확 올라가고, 놈진이 이제 좋을 거고요. 그죠?
Immediately after that, Adrian drops another video. And he is fucking furious that Nee still has Jin in his top 5. Because watch this.
And of course, anytime this character is nerfed, you have a lot of top players who are very upset. It's a bit like with Jin. I think it's a little bit of living in a bubble, where your character is always meant to be incredibly strong, and anytime he's nerfed, it's like, come on, your character is always top 5. Every single game, every season, top 5, top 3. Or arguably the best character in season 3, and oh, he's nerfed. No! You know. Can you just imagine being JDCR, devoting so much time to like Armor King and Heihachi, characters who've always been deeply flawed. Deeply flawed. Can you imagine being him, struggling in tournaments? I mean, at the highest level of play, playing Heihachi, I don't understand how he does it. You have no lows. It's not like you have a cool throw game to compensate. It's like, and electrics, crouch cancel electrics. It's like, okay, how do you do that? How do you even do that? And then imagine being him, seeing Jin players and Steve players receiving tiny slaps on the wrist, and they're on the ground in a fetus position. It's like, welcome to my life. It's like, come on, your character is always top 5. It's like, come on, your character is always top 5. Oh, he's nerfed. No! You know. Oh, he's nerfed. No! You know. And they're on the ground in a fetus position. And they're on the ground in a fetus position.
Now let me get this straight. Didn't he just say that Jin was in his top 20? And he says he's in his top 5, and now Adrian is pissed off, saying that Jin's always in the top 5.
A very solid character, but I don't believe he's top 10 anymore. A very solid character, but I don't believe he's top 10 anymore.
안 그래도 좋았는데 위에 3명이 죽어서 얘도 이제 확 올라가고, 안 그래도 좋았는데 위에 3명이 죽어서 얘도 이제 확 올라가고.
It's like, come on, your character is always top 5. It's like, come on, your character is always top 5. Oh, he's nerfed. No! You know. Oh, he's nerfed. No! You know. And they're on the ground in a fetus position. And they're on the ground in a fetus position.
This has nothing to do with facts. This is all based off of Adrian's jealousy. Period. I'm going to give you guys some more examples. Now watch this. When Season 3 Heihachi came out and they gave him his while rising move, right? It was so difficult to juggle off, you couldn't really fucking do anything. And I said this. Okay, with Heihachi, I'm gonna show y'all something that I'm asking that Namco you tweet this. When he goes on blue, look how much time you have before you can do that to fucking launch him. Oh, I still got counter hits. Look at that! That's bullshit! I mean, it should crumple like this. And actually, Adrian agreed with it because he watched this video and he actually also said this.
Heihachi with honestly not that impressive while standing free 1+2.
But in Season 4, they listened to me and actually fixed the move. Adrian realized they actually listened to me about that. And it made him jealous and furious. And watch how he changed his opinion about what he said earlier, just because he was fucking pissed off about me, about Heihachi. Check this out.
Your average Heihachi player would do while stunning 1 into Iron Hand, which is not super easy to do, of course, but still not optimal. If we block a big sweep, we want to launch. But the reason your average Heihachi player does this is because Heihachi has never had access to a dedicated while standing launcher. Heihachi has always been extremely hardcore in this regard, in that if you really wanted the big damage after blocking, you know, one of these big sweeps, you had to crouch cancel electric. This is very, very hard to do. I mean, literally reserved for like elite Mishima players like me. And in tournaments, you know, you'd see most Heihachi players, even in tournaments, do this. As, you know, you're nervous when you play in tournaments, you don't want to fuck anything up. But Heihachi, as JDCR, I almost called him Heihachi, and that would be fitting. Heihachi CR would always do this. It was so beautiful to watch. But then what happens in Season 3, they gave him this. And all that distinction is lost, and suddenly there was no difference anymore between your average Heihachi and your hardcore elite Heihachi. They would both just block a sweep and go for this, and it's so boring. It was just one of those beautiful things to watch in Tekken, in my opinion. But even so, Heihachi players complain. It's so hard to do the follow-up! Certainly, it's not hard to press free 1+2 to do this move, but the follow-up hell sweep pickup for the combo was pretty tight to do. With some practice, it actually wasn't that difficult. But boy oh boy did Heihachi players complain on Twitter. And they changed it, and now, almost as a joke, I think, they give you like 10 years to do the follow-up. 10 years. That combo. Did you see how long I waited? Yeah, that's a combo. Oh, some casual waifu. Yeah. I mean, to me, this is almost like the devs, the developers trolling these Heihachi players. Oh, you're too slow, are you? Can't do the hell sweep? Let's just give those fucking morons 3 seconds to do that hell sweep.
As you're going after Jin, and you don't want Jin players using forward 4. You don't want them using down back 4. You don't want them using down 4. You don't want them having a frame trap and forward 4-4. And you don't want them using standing 4. Regular standing magic 4. You want them just poking. That's it. You want them to poke, not use those other moves, but you will make a character that auto low parries lows and can reverse highs and mediums. You and Adrian are both fucking morons. You and Adrian are both fucking morons. You and Adrian are both fucking morons.
Let's just give those fucking morons 3 seconds to do that, Hellsweet. Let's just give those fucking morons 3 seconds to do that, Hellsweet. Let's just give those fucking morons 3 seconds to do that, Hellsweet.
Look at that! That's bullshit!
Heihachi with honestly not that impressive while standing free 1+2. Let's just give those fucking morons 3 seconds to do that, Hellsweet.
I find it also interesting that in the Lydia trailer that Heihachi is also in there and also one of the ones singled out.
Let's just give those fucking morons 3 seconds to do that, Hellsweet.
Cause think about it. Where in that video is Leroy and Fuck You Man? Why are they not in there? Why is it just basically knees mains? They show Heihachi and they single out Jin and the Hall-Rang low parry, all in Lydia's trailer. That's interesting, right? Now, also, when Season 3 came out, comes the nerfing of Jin, which Adrian's actually happy about, because all he wants is Kazuya to be considered higher than the nerfing of Devil Jin, and Adrian's happy about this, because all he wants is Kazuya to be considered better than Devil Jin, right?
Okay, string. But the upward 4 nerf, as I said, one of the absolute biggest nerfs in Tekken 7 history. And I think he's weaker than Kazuya now. Of course, we're going to have to see how all of this plays out. But I think Kazuya is stronger than Devil Jin now. That's just my Season 3, Day 3 analysis. Kazuya is stronger, I think.
But I called out how stupid it was to fucking do that, because there was only one person in the Tekken community who was using Devil Jin, and you pissed him off, which was Q-Dance. And it's fucking bullshit, and I said it. Because, Bandai, what are you fucking thinking? I mean, my god, I love y'all, but what are you fucking thinking nerfing somebody like Devil Jin? There's one Devil Jin player. I don't even play Devil Jin. I'm not a big Devil Jin fan. He's the only machine that I don't play. I play Heihachi, I play Kazuya, I play Jin, but I find Devil Jin clunky. I mean, maybe it's subconscious because I'm a Christian. It might have something to do with it, but I mean, I don't have any taste for him. But I don't give a fuck. I don't care if somebody uses Devil Jin, but you nerf him for no fucking reason. There is one Devil Jin player. One consistent Devil Jin player. He isn't all over the place. He isn't that popular of a character, and there's one, and you nerf him. Q-Dance is the only one. 2 years ago, he's the world fucking champ. Last year, he's second place. He could have been the world champ twice. And you frustrate him and you piss him off. After that video, Adrian watched that, and he also agrees, because he actually rethought about what he was doing, and he was like, this is kind of bullshit. And he also says it.
Huge damage. We're gonna see another one. Bam, bam. So, of course, a good juggling tool for Devil Jin, but of course, it's not gonna compensate at all for the nerfed upward 4. I think it's probably the biggest nerf in all of Tekken 73. It's Devil Jin's upward 4.
So then, when I'm saying you guys need to fix the game, they actually listened to me and fixed it. But first you have to repair the damage that you did before by listening to Adrian, and that's why everybody's so fucking pissed off. So first, what you would have to do is start unnerfing the characters that you unjustly nerf. Things like Jin's forward 4 and his down back 4. Easy, done. Characters that are good where they're at, you leave them alone. If the character isn't broke, don't fix it. Okay? Like Josie players, they're happy right now. Brian players, they're happy right now. You leave those characters alone. Right? You don't have to fuck with every character. You just undo the things that piss people off. Like Devil Gent up forward 4 follow up. His frame trap from down forward 4. Those things, give those back to those players. And then leave the rest of the things alone. Just like, just think about it more like a beefy season 2 with all the new moves and all the fucking good upgrades, and just give that shit back to the characters that you took away. One, that'll help repair the damage, okay? That's step 1. Adrian realizes this, finds out about this, and it makes him so fucking jealous and pissed off he can't see straight. So now he is in a mission to try to get that fucking re-nerfed. Which is hypocritical, Adrian.
Should it counter hit? Blam! 30 damage, and they go right down into the ground, setting up a forward 4 into Vortex.
No, this set, I'm going to have to be way more careful with my frame advantage. And that while standing 1+2, that is the dumbest move. That is the dumbest new move while standing 1+2. I was putting this up to do. So dumb.
But Devil Jin is really hard to play. Can someone clip that?
So here's an idea, Adrian. Why don't you mind your own fucking business and leave other people's characters alone? I don't know. Just a thought. Adrian does nothing. His nerfing stuff is not done by facts. It's done by his emotions. But stay with me. Here's the thing. Like I said, we would go over the bad of Adrian. Now let's go over the good. Yes, he doesn't know what he's talking about a lot when it comes to the characters and stuff like that. Yes, he can be a crybaby bitch, but he is the most disciplined and one of the most disciplined and hardworking people in the Tekken community that brings some of the most content to the entire Tekken community, and we need that. And under Harada that works, because Harada brings out the best out of him. Why? Because Harada understands his own vision. That's why he can say, don't ask me for shit, because it goes against Harada's vision. Now, under the vision, everything works, and it brings out the best in everybody, because you got people like me, and you got people like Adrian. Now, Nee is like the alpha male of the fucking Tekken community, and he will think about all the places Nee's gone, all the people's lives he touches, all the people he's been around. Adrian sits at home playing online, but because Nee's out doing all this other stuff, we have to have people like Adrian who keep the Tekken community interesting, because what does he do? He spits out content constantly.
A little bit less videos, but for 2 weeks. But prior to that, I was kind of bombarding you guys with like 5 videos almost 5 videos per day, almost 4 times per week. So I've been working so hard. It is pretty difficult being a content creator, you know, trying to come up with creative new videos all the time. So I've been taking it a bit chill, you know, spending more time with my family, with my son Wilhelm, and it's been quite awesome. It's been great, and thankfully we're almost at summertime, you know, it's getting more warm outside.
But it doesn't mean listen to him when it comes to the character, because he has a bias of it. But he's also technical, and he puts out videos like he just did with how to do, because he started off as a combo guy, so he understands the technicality of it, and that's what he focuses on. So he does videos like this, showing how to do certain things, like Jin's 4-4, the video he just dropped. He does do good content. Also, Adrian also does listen to me. That's the thing about Adrian. I will call him out on his dumb shit, and he will go cry, and he'll get pissed off at me. But then he's done this, and he'll be like, I fucked up, I'm sorry. And then I'm like, come on back, you're still my boy. And then he'll do dumb shit, I'll call him out, he'll get fucking pissed off, he'll go cry about it, and then he'll be like, I'm sorry. I'm like, come on back. It kind of reminds me of the verse in the Bible when Paul asked Jesus, how many times do I forgive my brother? 7 times? And Jesus said no. 77 times 7 times. Every time. And he knows I'm fucking cool with him when he doesn't have his head up his ass. But Adrian, under Harada's vision, is positive. Also, he does listen to me. This is when he listens to me. Check this out.
And what did Mr. Naps do? Jimmy, who's been a character loyalist since what? Tekken 5 with Brian? He was the only guy to fucking beat Arslan Ash at a tournament. Took a fight on him. At least I think he was the only one.
I love the fact that you're actually defending Akuma from the other guys.
Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you here, but so maybe, baby, you could just do what Naps does and make it work. Just work hard and overcome the obstacles your character has and do something interesting and new with your character. He took down Arslan Ash. He just, okay, Arslan relies on jab and dab for Gwen. How do I counter this with Brian? Rather than just going, oh, what's the top tier that's gonna work here? Oh, I'm gonna go with this one. Well, no, Fred. Cheers, man. Cheers. You have to keep calm when playing this game. And believe me, I've not always been this calm, but I try and look at it differently these days. If you don't keep calm, you will play terribly. So I've realized that when I stream, you know, I play for 4 to 5 hours. So if I want to play well, I can never let anything get to me, you know, when I play with them. And if you get, I mean, he won the first 3 matches, or what, 4? How am I supposed to get a comeback if I'm upset? You will never get a comeback if you get upset. If you stay calm, you can get a down though. That's much better.
Round 2. And this is where it gets really fascinating. He also knows the bullshit that he does. But now, nobody's allowed to fucking do any bullshit because Michael Murray's over everybody's fucking shoulder listening to every fucking thing they're doing. Adrian understands this. Because, like, with the knee thing, Adrian understands his role. He does. He knows it. He's said it.
So you've been playing Tekken for 20 years, you know, and I see you stream it a lot, you upload to YouTube, you know, you take it seriously, it's your passion. How come Knee is that much stronger than you? What makes you such a scrap man and him such a god man? Like, what exactly is the difference between a player like you and me? And this covers so many things. I tried to record an answer live on stream and I felt it wasn't very good, so I'm giving it another go today. And I'm gonna break it down into many factors here. But first off is maybe the most apparent, like what's your outlook on the game? Are you trying to become a competitive player? Is that what you want to achieve? And that's very rarely been the case with me. Sometimes I've had, a few times it's happened, but I felt like for a month that, oh, I'm gonna become a competitive player, but then that's not how I have fun with the game. I always come back to like, just, I want to play Tekken with friends, sometimes play some ranked, play characters I enjoy, and, you know, not take it too seriously all the time. So it's a little bit on your outlook on the game, but it's also about hard work. Nee has put down a lot of hard work here. And don't get me wrong, I work really hard. But do I work hard at becoming a competitive Tekken player? No. I have fun playing Tekken, and then I work hard as a content creator, you know, a streamer, a YouTuber, being a dad. I've just gotten into Warhammer, you know, working out at the gym, getting, you know, fitness is interesting. It's like we all, I guess, have priorities and things we like to do with our time. And that's how I prioritize. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I've worked hard, but I've maybe more gone into the content creation side of things, whereas Nee is a content creator as well, but works really, really hard at, you know, staying on top of the competitive Tekken community, which must be, you know, super difficult. You've seen the competition. So he works really hard. And then another interesting factor I want to talk about is that not everyone is the same. We all have different strengths.
And I have never, in all my videos, you can go back and watch them, I've never blamed Adrian for what's going on in the Tekken community. Adrian, I've never blamed you. Michael Murray, this is all your fucking fault. Because you listen to the worst of Adrian, you bring out the worst. Harada listens to the best of Adrian because he understands the vision and he brings out the best in Adrian. This is all on your shoulders. This is all your fucking fault for not understanding the vision of Harada. That's why when you listen to me, everything fucking works. But when you listen to Adrian, you're bringing out the worst in him. And guess what? And this is the beauty of it. Adrian also understands this. And this video that he dropped is him trolling you, Michael. Because he says, please nerf Jin. And it's like a fucking joke slap in the face to you because you listen to all that fucking bullshit. And then what does he do with Paul? Since some people don't understand sarcasm, kills him in like 4 moves. And the Tekken community instantly caught on to that because another guy dropped this video that I'm right behind it where the guy was like, and it had to beat Paul of all things. Why does Paul have a down forward 2? And since most people you might not understand sarcasm, the guy does the exact same move back to Paul. Watch this back to back. This is Adrian and the Tekken community trolling you, Michael.
Round 1. Fight. 俺は全てを 時間の無駄だ。
Can we nerf Jin's damage? Why does he do so much damage?
Fight.
Look at this disgusting behavior. That better be the first thing I see on the list. Nerf down 4-2 on Paul Phoenix.
Later, fuckers.
How about another joke, Murray?
No, I think we've had enough of your joke.
Eris understood this also because one day he was talking shit about Brian, but then he dawned on him because of all the dumb shit that's been going on. It dawned on him. He was like, I need to stop because these idiots might be fucking listening and take this shit too literally. So he had to stop and say, I'm just talking shit. It's okay. You've taken people's ability to talk shit and have fun in the entire Tekken community with this game.
Crush. But the neutral version, it's harder to punish because you stay in the same spot. You're not getting closer to the opponent. Man, that tip alone will skyrocket anyone who's making that mistake. And it's, you know, if you're being logical, it's an honest mistake. Obviously, you would expect that the forward version is better. But in this case, it, I think, never is. There it is. How are you going to do anything about that? How are you ever going to do anything about that? It's so fucking stupid. But I mean, that's the whole point of the character. I love Byron. And that's a Byron classic. If they better not touch that shit. I'm a Byron defender. They better not touch that shit.
Okay, another thing that exposes the motive behind the whole fucking balancing bullshit is how it's okay to make characters that are overpowered and easy to use with little to no effort, except for Jin, who's already a difficult character. He's a difficult character, but let's make him more difficult. See, this whole thing about the balancing and what's been going on behind the scenes is all about manipulation. Another thing that exposes this entire thing is them saying that they want Jin as justification to nerf everything about fucking Jin. They're saying they want Jin players to only focus on poking. Well, that's bullshit, and that exposes that this shit is about fucking Adrian's jealousy, and Michael is a fucking dipshit for listening to him. Why? Because Kazuya and Jin have all the same tools. The only difference is a handful, just a small amount of pokes. And I am sick and tired of hearing and watching everybody act like Kazuya doesn't have pokes. He does have pokes. He has basic pokes. He just doesn't have enough to mix it up. But he has basic, perfect, good poking. And he actually has the best poke in the entire fucking game. Yes, 1-1-2 is the best poke in the entire game. That's why it's been copy and pasted to so many other characters. Why? Because it's a hit confirmable. 1-1, hit confirmable. If it hits, you know to hit the 2. It's a high. Nobody ever decks the second one because it's too fucking fast. So what you can do is 1-1, they block it, hell sweep. The 2 is delayable. So if that happens, you go 1-1 a low, they start ducking, 1-1, 2, boom. You don't want to do 1-1, you hit a jab. Once you hit a jab, you're on plus frame. So jab, electric. It's the best poke in the entire game. It's been around since 1. The only difference is Jin has a smidge more, just a handful more, to mix up his poking. That's it. Other than that, they're the exact same. But you want to take things because of that. You want to focus on those pokings, which exposes that it is about this fucking jealousy and bias that fucking Adrian has. Give you an excuse to tear down everything. Like taking away his down back 1, counter hit launcher like Kazuya has his down 1+2 launcher. And here's the thing, Adrian doesn't even use Kazuya to his full fucking potential. He never has. What was he saying? Kazuya only has like 7 moves to use. Bullshit. Ever since I came along, him and the entire Kazuya community has now added back forward, wall rising 3, forward, 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 finally down 1+2 because of the strengths of it, that it crushes highs, that you can cancel it, that it's a counter hit launcher, that he rolls his shoulders first, that's why everybody gets stunned, because everything upper body is usually high or medium, and it also hits grounded. And Jin's, and that's why it's one more frame than Jin's, because Jin's, you can jab him out of it, starts with his legs, you can see it coming, you can duck. It doesn't hit grounded, but you want to take Jin's away and let Kazuya keep his. What about his forward 4? Kazuya, forward 3. Oh yeah. His forward 3. His forward 4. His side step 3. His back 4. What about that? But you want to take that away from Jin. What about his magic 4? Kazuya's magic 4 still does a full launcher. And if they sidestep, back 4 tracks and is safe. Well, it doesn't do a full launcher, but his while standing 2 does, and his down forward 2 does on counter hit. They track full launchers, but you want to take Jin's away as a full launcher. This is a lie based off of jealousy. That's all it is, and it exposes what this whole fucking agenda is. And this is the best part. This part fucking cracks me up because it's based on opinion. And Jin, Devil Jin, and Kazuya, and I'm saying this because I don't want anything taken away from Kazuya. I want Kazuya season 4 left alone, and I want my Jin season 3 with season 2 forward 4 and down back 4 all restored. That's what I want, to lift them both up. But the best part is these characters all basically have the same tools, but Ni and Kyudance's main Mishima player is Devil Jin. It's associated with those 2 players. And who is Kazuya associated with? Adrian. And on the tier list, which is based on opinion, Devil Jin's always at the top. Kazuya is always under. So what does that say about the opinion of Ni versus Adrian? The truth is, it's the opinion that everybody knows Ni's better than Adrian, and Adrian sucks. That's why he takes it so personally. You guys starting to see this? And understand it? This whole fucking bullshit is based off jealousy and opinion. And tier lists are based on opinion only. See, what happens is these players are so good that they pick their favorite character. Okay? Then they put years and dedication into it. They get good with that character. They take this character to a tournament and then they win. But what's been going on is favoritism and not liking what character they're using and trying to manipulate the system. Like, for example, Michael Murray likes that Little Majin uses King. That's why he keeps buffing King, because he doesn't want Little Majin to change that. But he won't like certain characters, and this goes the same for, he's just echoing the voice of Adrian. They don't like them, they don't like somebody like Arslan Ash using Kazumi, so they'll nerf Kazumi, hoping Arslan Ash will change to a different character. That's what this whole fucking balancing bullshit is about. Because remember, after season 2, she was nerfed. And everybody thought she was like mid-tier. Arslan comes out and kicks ass. What happens to her again? What happens to her in season 3, she gets nerfed again. This is all about manipulation. This is why I've been getting so fucking irritated. And not only that, the tier lists are opinion-based bullshit. That's why it never fucking stops. And it's based off of, all of this is based off of jealousy. And this has affected my fucking game too. This has affected me too. Because you guys are fucking forgetting and missing the entire fucking point. I bought this game because it's a video game to have fun with my fucking friends. I bought it because I wanted to play Kazuya and Jin, and nothing is going to fucking change my mind. Nobody's going to manipulate me not to fucking use those characters. Alright? And then what's happening is the opinion of some other guys who are fucking jealous of my character, and Michael getting a hold of this game with no investment, didn't build it up, doesn't understand the vision, doesn't give a fuck about the characters or the concept or the vision of Harada, will fucking nerf characters at a whim on whatever emotion he has, and fuck with the fun I'm having. Or imagine like Steve players who've got in the crossfire of the fucking bullshit of getting pissed off at Knee for finally calling fucking Adrian out for being a little bitch. This is affecting thousands of your fucking customers who want to buy a video game just to have fun. And then once their character gets nerfed and they get fucking irritated and pissed off, this is how you treat them and this is what you tell them to their face.
Oh, hello, gym players. Oh, hello, gym players.
So, whose fist was Kazuya punching? Michael?
And of course, anytime this character is nerfed, you have a lot of top players who are very upset. It's a bit like with Jin. I think it's a little bit of living in a bubble where your character is always meant to be incredibly strong, and anytime he's nerfed, oh, he's nerfed, no, you know, oh, he's nerfed, no, you know, and we're on the ground in a fetus position. And we're on the ground in a fetus position. But this is not gonna have, now you're not gonna see Knee and Nobi and all the other lazy tier whore sons of bitches, you know, have a backup Steve in every fucking tournament. Have they already tweeted, oh, Steve is dead, oh, oh, oh. If they haven't already, it's incoming. Thank God. Now let's have a Steve enthusiasts play the character. The people who actually have cocks. Have they already tweeted, oh, Steve is dead, oh, oh, oh. Have they already tweeted, oh, Steve is dead, oh, oh, oh. The people who actually have cocks. The people who actually have cocks. But no more combos. No more combos. A good change, if you ask me.
But Devil Jin is really hard to play. Can someone clip that?
Bullshit that Fuck You Man and Leroy both have these type of things. But he wouldn't need that stuff, that we can actually have a very unique fighter that would match his design. And then
with another video, and as you can see, we'll be playing the martial law right now. What's quite interesting is, you know, we have the Leroy custom, the mod to go on law, and we're playing against Leroy in our waiting screen, which is good as well, because beating up on Leroy always makes me feel good, just because how much I hate this character.
Parries lows, and he can reverse, I'm not even going to call it parry because it's not, he can reverse a high and medium.
There's nothing I can do. I can't win this. There's nothing I can do. I can't win this. Up on Leroy always makes me feel good, just because how much I hate this character.
Do you see anything different with that title screen there? Oh, right. It's. I think that's Tekken 7 Season 4. Oh, your title screen doesn't look like that. You don't have Season 4. Maybe you're just a loser. I'm just kidding. Of course you're not a loser. You're not a huge, massive loser. Trust me.
I wonder what kind of trouble I'm gonna get into, if any. I feel like I try not to even talk about shit. All I try to talk about is like stupid shit that you can't really get in trouble for. This is the kind of stuff that you could probably get in trouble for. People like Rip, and people like Spaghetti Rip, and other people are mad. Why are these people mad? Why are they sad? What's going on? And I look more into it, and turns out that some people were given access to Tekken 7 Season 4 and other people weren't, and there was a lot of people unhappy about that, right? And it's like this, the concept is so deep that you don't understand. You can't understand. You don't know the whole story. It doesn't work that way because they need the creator, tournament organizer, commentator, those are all the same. Even tournament players, they need those guys more than Dark Souls needs anything. You know, Death Stranding doesn't need a tournament to exist. A Death Stranding tournament doesn't need to happen. But fighting games need these things to happen to like inspire and create growth and, you know, all this stuff. You need it. So, anyway, let's get back to the whole Rip concept, right? It's a lot of sacrifice, and I feel like it stung especially today for me because I remember those times when I thought to myself, this isn't gonna work. I can't just be about Tekken because even though it seems like we are 69ing each other and it's even, right? Like, this is great. They give me access to something, I can create content with it, and I'm advertising their game. That's great. Except, what about when they give it to someone else first? Or what about when they make a shitty fucking game that you don't like? What's gonna happen then? Yeah.
Season 4 trash. Season 4 trash. Season 4 trash.
Because, I mean, this is right up my alley. In high school, I was a wrestler. I went to state for wrestling. I took boxing. I also took karate, Kai Kishinkai. So, whose fist was Kazuya punching? Michael?
So what Chingat actually means it's a form of anger. Usually you'll see it in business negotiations. someone will threaten or a counter offer and they'll go, I don't know about that. It actually is. And when people get in bar fights, you know that there's someone's about to throw a punch when they go like this.
Oh, is it like, come on, go ahead?
Yeah, come on, I'm angry.
Even though this entire video is about Leroy and fuck you, man, there's only one, he mentions one other Tekken character throughout this entire video. Just one. One other character. Out of a cast of about 50 characters, guess which character is the one he mentioned?
そうだよね、海外でもやっぱり鉄拳っつったら行ったカポエラっていうか、ジンの本物の空手になった段階もあったりとか、ね、やっぱりジンの本物の空手になった段階もあったりとか、ね、やっぱりジンの本物の空手になった段階もあったりとか、ね、やっぱりジンの本物の空手になった段階もあったりとか、ね、やっぱり
Michael Murray, Harada, and Satoshi, all of you got to see this and see what's going on. This is horrible business. Now let me explain to you exactly how the game is going to die. See, what happens is when you got the entire Tekken community and you got this one little section in this one little, led by this one little fucking brat who complains about other people's characters. Michael Murray comes in and listens to that one person nerfing a ton of people's characters and showing favoritism and stuff like this. Right? Now what you've done, and it's a small group of complaining little fucking bitches, because the rest of the Tekken community, until all the way up through Season 2, Tekken was considered a positive game and the most balanced game. Right?
This is the point. This is the part of the straw that broke the camel's back. And the turning point for me personally, at least on an emotional level, was when I saw those patch notes with a date on them that indicated that nerfs were prepared for this character before he was released. And it became obvious that the developers had intended to release him strong and nerf him later from his main man. But as the days passed and the issues of the extreme range and the broken hurtbox became more and more apparent, and before long we knew we had a new king of jank. Number 4, Legacy. Tekken 7 Season 3 will be remembered as the Great Stumble, the time when one of the greatest fighting games of all time started to go downhill. We had developers working seemingly against the community, we had bad communication, we had some of the worst balance we've ever had.
And I'm gonna do a video now on how Season 3 kind of dropped the ball. And I'm gonna have to say that it dropped the ball. It kind of sucked. There were some good things there, but Tekken 7 had built up a lot of one hell of a great reputation actually with the initial release, the arcade version, and then Season 1 and Season 2. It was widely considered almost flawless. If you just looked away from the so-so netcode, the lack of offline features, a general lack of content, even though it was no Street Fighter 5, I would say. It was pretty damn solid, but then comes Season 3, and even the most hardcore enthusiasts feel like, what is going on?
It was never a big announcement. Nobody ever knew that Michael Murray had taken over and Harada was off doing other things. But I figured it out by this. Because I knew that somebody was listening to Adrian, which is based off fucking complaining. And now you got this one little group. What you did is you just justified the little group in the entire Tekken community, the toxic group, instantly making Tekken be considered toxic, because now this little group of complainers is justified. And they're fucking with all these other people's characters. Thousands, probably millions. Namco, Bandai, are y'all paying attention? Instantly, I knew somebody else was in charge. And because of that, what's going to happen is now that this little fucking, these guys have been justified, this side eventually is going to get fucking tired of it and go, wait, it's only a video game. Bought this game to have fun, and this shit is not fun. This little group saying the only reason you win is because your character. Bullshit. It's because they're better than this little fucking group. And then Michael, the dumb little fucking idiot on top, is saying, oh god, you guys are right. And then they nerf these characters and be like, we're going to take shit away from you, and you're going to fucking like it. Now win. Think about that mindset. You're going to push all these customers away. And then you're going to be left with this little fucking group who don't even like each other. And eventually they'll disperse. It'll be the end of the game. As soon as Season 3 hit, that's how I knew. I saw the personality had changed. I knew they were listening to Adrian. And here's the thing. I knew it was Michael. I knew it was you, Michael, before I even knew your fucking name. Because I can read businesses. I can read people. I can even read nations, because it's all based down and boils down to emotions. And you had the exact personality that went with what I saw in Season 3, and I made the connection before I even knew your name. I knew Harada wasn't in charge. I was like, this kind of matches the guy who's standing beside Harada. Yes, I can do that. And I am showing you guys how this is going to lead to the destruction of the game. Balancing is not balancing. It's opinion based on jealousy. That's all it is. Michael Murray, I'm not doing this to fucking be a dick. I have to show, I don't care if this pisses you off. I don't care if it pisses Adrian off. I am showing this to you guys so you will understand, and everybody will see, if the game dies, you'll know exactly why. You have to see this because you don't understand where this is going to lead. And when you see it, then the choice will be yours if you want to continue down that road. And Harada, the game you built for 2.5 fucking decades, is going to be destroyed if this isn't fixed. I know you're not around it. You're worried about your bar in the other video game. But what's going on is this. Satoshi, you're going to lose millions and tarnish the reputation of Namco if this continues. And I know all of this is because of you, Michael. It's not Harada. I've already seen that. Because Harada is working on his bar and he's working on that other video game. And when all the game developers got together that last time, after the Lydia teaser trailer, this is their reaction.
Where are you, Gina? What do you say? What do you say so far?
This is their reaction after all the other trailers.
Out on what, Thursday, I think?
Yeah. Where are you, Gina? What do you say? What do you say so far?
Out on what, Thursday, I think?
Yeah. Where are you, Gina? What do you say? What do you say so far?
Now, to show you this, I will show you the body language that happens in the animal kingdom. This is the body language of a chimpanzee who is a beta. And he's smiling like this to show that he's not a threat, and it's body language of, I'm not a threat to you, don't hurt me, I'm submissive. And your body language throughout that entire thing, you were terrified. You were the one behind Lydia. And it shows.
Where are you, Gina? What do you see? What do you see so far?
It's a blow up, man. The trailer just started now. I see the horse and carriage. There's some sort of palace or something. Prime Minister Nat Threat is a babe. I must remember the people of Poland.
All right, chat. What do you think?
You got someone from Poland here?
It is really quick, right?
Yeah. But Poland is hype. I like that about Tekken. I like how Tekken has all the global, representing different regions and everything.
They've had some really big tournaments there. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you were Brazilian.
My dad's Brazilian. My mother's side, grandparents Polish.
Ooh, it's a big community there for us, and we thought it'd be good to give them their spot. So, just saying that she is Prime Minister, obviously Poland, and obviously we couldn't use the actual Prime Minister from Poland, so we made our own.
What are you guys doing over at Bandai Namco? That's crazy. Just put the Prime Minister out there. I guess I can't talk. Guilty Gear's got presidents fighting. Kings and presidents are all fighting here.
So it's this is just a teaser, obviously. So later on we have something planned. I think I'm allowed to talk about it. But yeah, he's talking about how we actually contacted the Polish embassy in Japan. And we do this often for our new characters, since we don't know a whole lot about the country and culture.
And that body language is fear. But shareholders don't look at Jin players like Jin players. They look at them like consumers. And you just pissed them off. Now, the main key that I want to do is I want to get this information to Satoshi. Who knows, he might be watching this video now. I mean, Michael, you're watching it. Harada's watching it. The entire fighting game community is watching it right now. All the top influencers are all watching this video. So who knows, he might be. And sir, if you are watching this, Satoshi, I have seen how Harada mirrors you and he respects you. Because of that, you already have my respect.
The best thing he said in the entire video that I agree with 100%, that I was so glad to hear him say, and I think I've been saying something similar, I hope, in my videos, going back a long time, that it doesn't matter how good you are at Tekken. If you are a paying customer and you're part of this community, whether you're a complete beginner or a high-level pro, you are a paying customer and your feelings and your opinion matters and should be taken into consideration. And I completely agree with that. I think it's the right way to look at it. But then he starts talking about how people are very emotional about balance. They watch tournaments and they see, oh, my character that I always play and don't win with doesn't appear in tournaments, so it confirms my suspicion that this character is shit, and they get very emotional. There's this connection between, people's feelings, emotions about the game, and then they sort of use tournaments, as a reference for that. And then he also talks about statistics and how he has all of this information. I think they call it the Yamino data, the data of darkness, or the cursed data that he has right there, that for some reason he doesn't feel comfortable publishing. That has, I think as far as Harada sees it, the actual truth about what characters are strong and what characters are weak. But I also felt frustrated about the fact that Harada talked about tournaments, he talked about this data, but I didn't feel he like gave a clear opinion of, you know, which one is more important, what should you take into account. Is it the emotions of the players? Is it the tournament results or representation in tournaments? Is it this dark data that you're hiding? Are you using a mix of all of it? And, you know, which one do you think is more important, and so on. And it's another point where I would really have liked it so very much if somebody asked him some questions and pressed him to elaborate on some of these things.
But shareholders don't look at Jin players like Jin players. They look at them like consumers. And you just pissed them off.
That I was so glad to hear him say, and I think I've been saying something similar, I hope, in my videos, you know, going back a long time, that it doesn't matter how good you are at Tekken. If you are a paying customer and you're part of this community, whether you're a complete beginner or a high-level pro, you are a paying customer and your feelings and your opinion matters.
But shareholders don't look at Jin players like Jin players. They look at them like consumers. And you just pissed them off.
That I was so glad to hear him say, and I think I've been saying something similar, I hope, in my videos, you know, going back a long time, that it doesn't matter how good you are at Tekken. If you are a paying customer and you're part of this community, whether you're a complete beginner or a high-level pro, you are a paying customer and your feelings and your opinion matters.
So yes, I'm well aware that Harada's getting frustrated with you, Michael, and you're on the hot seat. I can see it. Actually, let me break this down and explain vision versus emotion, because there's a very clear pattern here that you can see in a lot of things, and you can see how this can apply to different businesses and other things in life. But, so, George creates Star Wars. He has a vision for it, right? Kathleen Kennedy inherits this. Now watch this pattern that goes on here. She doesn't understand or care about George's vision, that it's about family and redemption and stuff like that. So she has her own personal agenda. And what she does is she injects that into the movie. She doesn't care about George's vision. She cares only about her agenda. And because of that, she treats everybody else out of jealousy. She tears them down and destroys them to uplift her agenda and her purpose. Well, but Dave Filoni understands George's vision. So he can carry on what George does, and that's why The Mandalorian and Clone Wars and even Rebels works. He understands the vision. He cares. He uplifts it. And so Michael Murray inherits Tekken. He didn't build it up. He doesn't care. He doesn't understand Harada's vision. So what does he do? Just like Kathleen Kennedy does, he wants to push his agenda with his characters. Make them the best. And he will destroy everybody around that out of jealousy so that he and his agenda get promoted. Adrian is the exact same way. He only wants his character to be considered the top character, and he will tear down every single other person and character and manipulate them until he gets that opinion of his character as the top. He'll even steal moves from other characters to get that done and tear down other ones. And both of them do this. I come along, I understand Harada's vision that this is a video game. It's meant to have fun. It's meant to make friends. It's meant to be uplifting, and you should be rewarded for the hard work that you put in with a character. So when they listen to me, Adrian becomes calmer and peaceful and has more fun with the game. Even everything Michael Murray listens to me actually succeeds because I understand the vision. Now, what about Justice League? Why hasn't anybody been paying attention to this or even thought about this? What is Joss Whedon's #1 success in his life? Avengers from Marvel. What is his #1 competition for the greatest achievement he's done in his life? DC Justice League. And they hired him to redo Justice League. Why is anybody surprised when he destroys the movie, treats the characters like they're a joke, and also gets paid for it? All this, there's a common theme between it. Vision versus the emotions of selfishness, greed, and jealousy. And you can see this pattern all through life, like China versus America. Excuse me, sorry, I had to clear something out of my throat. But you can see the pattern between all of them. Vision versus the emotion of especially jealousy and tearing other people down to get what they want, instead of a vision that makes everybody stronger and uplifts them. See the pattern here? Okay, Michael, I'm going to show you the only thing that gives me hope and the good side of you. This is the part that I caught. When I saw Lydia, you actually listened. And the way you designed her, even though you were pissed off and furious at me, you listened. And you designed her correctly, which means and tells me that you actually want the game to succeed. You're actually willing to learn. That's the good side of you. That's what gives me hope for the future of Tekken. That's why I made this video. Well, first I made it for Knee, because I almost didn't give a fuck. I made it for Knee, and then when I thought about the design of Lydia, I was like, well, there might be hope. And that's why I took trouble to show you all this, because that is your weakness. One, you've been manipulated by Adrian to think he's right. First, stop listening to him. And just, when you stop that, he's going to pitch a fucking fit because he gets jealous and people aren't listening to him. But that's part of his manipulation. First, stop that. You were manipulated by him. Two, you were pissed off at me. And you created this. And it worked. Imagine if we actually worked together. Imagine if you're like, okay, I actually do need help and maybe some advice on this. And you and me work together. And I'm fucking dead serious. Michael, if you were to get a hold of me, you would actually find out that I'm actually a pretty laid back guy. There's only one thing I care about is getting the game fixed and back on track. I don't give a fuck if you take all the credit. I don't care. It's a win-win for both of us. But you're like, Jeremy, how do I get a hold of you? You're a smart guy, Michael. Figure it out. You get a hold of me, I'll give you my number, you call me, we talk. Because there is a danger. And remember when I talked about Voldemort being exiled? Voldemort got exiled. It wasn't automatic. It was a slow burn in our group. And not only that, not only did he just get exiled, we ended up stopping having Tekken to get-togethers for a long time. It was at the very beginning of Tekken 5. We dabbed a little bit in it, but then it stopped at the same time he got exiled. It died. And we went a long time. It wasn't until a couple months before Tag 2 came out, my brother got a hold of Tekken 6, and we started getting get-togethers. So there was many, many years that went where we stopped playing the game, and then we brought it back, and everybody started coming back. Voldemort begged to come back. Everybody told him to fuck off. All right? And making the same decisions, and the thing about it is I'd walk the fuck away from Tekken 2. I love the NFL. They shoved their head up their ass. I've been watching them for fucking years. They put their head up their ass. I walked away. Star Wars. Love Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy got a hold of it. Put her head up her ass. I walked away from it. Battlefield was my other favorite video game. In the last one, they put their head up their ass. I walked away from it. I'm not loyal just because a name that I've been with is loyal to something if the same name is slapped on a piece of shit. I'll walk the fuck away from it. I stay with quality, not a name. And what's happening now is you already pushed Eris away. Imagine if I get irritated and walk away and see it's doomed anyway and I walk away. Imagine if you irritate somebody like me and he walks away from it. The popularity of the game will die, and then it'll be over. Neither one of us want that. But on the path it is right now, that's what's going to happen. But if you were willing to work with me, I could show you how to take the game to new heights. And I'm dead serious. And this is for you, and this isn't just on you. This is also on Harada. You have to see what's going on. If this continues, the game you've built for 2.5 decades will die. Satoshi, you have to see what's going on. Because this will hurt the reputation of Namco if the game dies. But I am showing it. Everybody sees it now. And the thing about it is that's on you. That's your choice. Nobody can make another person do anything. That's their own choice. There's only one person on this planet I can change. That's myself. I can't change anybody else. But I can show you the direction. Just like... And see, there's a flip side to that coin. I walked away from Star Wars until Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau brought me back with The Mandalorian and the Clone Wars. Same with Justice League. Brought me back. Is when the vision got back on track, I was all on board. And I'm fucking part of the bandwagon of Restore the Snyderverse. It's the vision. If you get the vision back. And for Tekken, that means restoring Jin's down back 4 and his magic 4 for the other Jin players. Restoring Steve, then leaving the characters alone. But yeah, the choice is on you guys, and now everybody sees it. Later, fuckers.